Okay, let me do a quick check. 1 2 1 2. Okay, so I am online. Okay, I'm on the line. Wow. I literally thought that I was going to have to smash my computer today. No, I'm kidding. I would never do that. All right, let's see where we are at. All right, excellent, excellent, excellent. How is everyone tonight? We have a lot to go over, so I'm not even going to be doing the normal introduction that I normally do. But my name is Dr. Samuel Lombardo, the CEO and Executive Director of SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. Please do not forget to subscribe. You're really going to love what we have to share tonight. Okay, but definitely do not forget to subscribe. We are reaching 500 subscribers already, and I believe by the time we get done this video, we will be well past 500, probably going into 600 subscribers. Yes, we are talking about the 600 club, folks, on subscribers. Let's do this. Let's do this. At this point, let's see if we can make our next milestone, which is 1,000 subscribers. Can we do that? Do you think we could actually do that? This is amazing. And if it wasn't for your support, of course, we would not, we wouldn't be seen as broadly as we are. So congratulations. Also, thank you to those who have become a Patreon. Yes, a Patreon. That is www.patreon.com/SLMTA. There, if you become a VIP member, you will have exclusive treats just for you. So definitely look into that as well. Thank you to the members. Thank you to the subscribers who have become members. Excellent. We appreciate your support. And yes, that is going in to the pot of what we are planning to do for our Dreamers division, where it's going to help them succeed in our training division. So thank you very much for that support. It really does help. And every month that you do support, it continues to help those that are being ready to join our Community Stars program. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, do not forget to subscribe in our YouTube channel, SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. That is the gold icon with the red ring around it. Yes. And don't forget to hit that notifications bell. And again, thank you for the support. So tonight we are going to be we're going to be touching on a very, very touchy topic for some of you. It's going to be for the models and the artists out there, this is going to be very important for you. For the agencies, this might mean doing some changes. But tonight's interactive show, this is the SLMTA at night show. It is an interactive live show, so you can come in, ask questions, talk with me. If you want to pop on live with me, then we have to figure that out as well. But there you go. There you go. It's 3 hours of full disclosure talking, no raw. It's all raw, no edited, and everything is just what it is, right? For this show. So tonight's interactive live show will share with you what a fake and a real agency is. Oh, what do you mean, Dr. Lombardo? Is there really fake agencies? Well, you'll be surprised to hear how this works. Just like fake school, there could be fake agencies as well. This is a pretty sticky subject matter because some agencies are actually working for the profit, but not for the profit of the models and talent of the roster. That's a very, very sticky point. So even if you are a real agency, are you working for the benefit of the roster, or are you working for your own pocketbook? Yes, that's something else that we want to be talking about as well. Then we are going to talk about false advertisement. Oh my God. You know, I had to throw that in there. You know that I had to just throw that in there. False advertisement. Now, it's not the same type of false advertisement that you thinking that it could be, but it's probably going down the same lines. Okay. And so false advertisement and copyright issues. There are many different tricks about what is copyright and what is not. We're going to talk about those issues, or we're going to at least try to get them in there. What does agencies need to be careful of doing before they start talking about subject matters such as past roster? Now, what is a past roster? We're going to tell you about that. Dates, times, and locations of specific events. Who is involved, how to introduce an actual supermodel, even if they were from your training agency. Now, let me explain something here. The one thing that I failed to actually add in the topic, which is going to be the main thing I'm going to be talking about when I talk on this subject matter, is how do you reintroduce a company that no longer exists if you actually established a new company? Because that is where some of you are not really being highlighted correctly. And some of you, I actually know what really happened, but it's not being addressed as such. Okay. So that's what I want to try to help you guys with a little bit today, or at least hoping that I would be able to help you guys understand. Okay. And then advertising dates, times, and locations of business experience versus how long you have been in the industry, and how to successfully advertise the real agency facts without underestimating and or overexerting the company as a whole. Wow. Boy, are we going to be going into some really big topics. And let me tell you where I was able to pull these topics from. Finally, we will talk about what it really means to be too good to be true. All right. These subjects include when an agency is lying to you. Oh, yeah, I'm actually going to tell you when an actual agency is lying to you. You could figure that out. The dollar versus experience, how the work gives you the dollar. Be careful of fake dollars that look real. I call it the counterfeit acts. Okay, that's what it's really defined as. And the promise that is always broken. Now, I'm going to explain to you what agencies this would be too, because I didn't actually state that in here in the topic. But the promise that is always broken, the typical superstar you can be with an unusual or no real evidence of such platform proven to work even in educational programs. These topics are part of my chapter 7 of the psychology of the creative innovators, common mistakes of the unusual agency. Now, I know I like to use puns and words, and it has been accepted. It has been accepted in my writings already. So it's not just some made up scenario that I'm creating just out of the blue. It is something that is happening. And I'm just waiting for the copyright on it. But anyway, long story short, I like to use puns on different words that actually help you understand a little bit easier what it is I'm trying to describe. Basically, the English version of the most difficult portion of what I'm trying to explain. There we go. And that's how we're going to have it. So let's talk about it for a minute. What is fake and what is real? Well, hopefully I don't have to go and open the dictionary up again to try to explain in the Webster's dictionary how to use these in English. You should be able to know this. Fake is something that's not real. Right? No, I'm kidding. It's true, right? So what is fake? It's the delusion of something that is, or the delusion of something that's seen real with no benefit to it, right? Let's go ahead and let's do our little cheat sheet that we normally do. What does the Webster Dictionary flat out say what fake means? Okay. Fake is, or faking is, prepare or make something specious, deceptive, or fraudulent. To conceal the defects of or make appear more attractive, interesting, valuable, etc., usually in order to deceive. To fake something, to pretend. Now, you can pretend and then you can also deceive. This is where it really gets really bad. And here is the issue when it comes to business, okay, to know the difference between fake and real, all right? You can literally sound real about everything that you're doing and still pretend that you're doing something else. It is still fake. What do you mean by that? Well, let's say that you have a roster. Let's say that you do have a roster of talent. And that roster of talent, every single month, they have a new photo shoot coming from the town, coming from the talent agency, right? Well, the truth is the talent agency was able to create the photo shoot that the roster of which you have, which is also true, is to be created. But what is fake is the fact of when they start mentioning, oh, we have the top #1 category photographer, award-winning, blah, 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 blah. And then they start overexerting, like, you should come and do this too. Yes, you need to get in front of the camera. It is your turn. Come now. Don't think tomorrow. Come now. Come today. Come right now. And it almost seems as if it's like a pitch, right? Like they just want everybody to go doing everything. But the reality is they have a cameraman, okay, who knows how to shoot photos and does photo shoots. But the model isn't getting paid for that. And when you ask for, like, where do they actually do any kind of work, they try to come up with some really random stuff. Now, I call it BS, but you could call it whatever you want to call it, okay? You'll find some random scenario where it's almost like some, I don't know, you could call it the newspaper editor for all I care, right? And they'll say, yes, there is a we're going to set up a campaign. Okay. And that may be true because if they have a sophisticated way that they could do it, they would be able to do it. But the idea is you set up a campaign and then you're bringing to the attention the campaign, but the reality is they're not actually getting paid for it. It's something that is being created. So what's real is that you have this campaign going on, but what's fake is the fact that they actually became the top #1 out of the campaign. So now they're actually all over the place. So doing this, they're doing that, and they're doing the other thing. But then when you get an actual agency like SLMTA that says, hey, would I like to see your resume? What happens? There's nothing there to show. So then you're down to, oh, no, we do have something to show. And what do they show? Oh, they were the winner of this campaign. They were in front of the camera with our top #1 so-and-so. And they went to this big kahuna and they sat on a donkey's butt or whatever, whatever the case is. And the next thing you know, now, let me tell you a little secret, okay? I am pretty much like some of these other folks that are out there. I have went to school. I have learned arts administration, okay? I love arts and administration. I love to meet different artists and models and they see like what kind of creations they could come out of, the designers, etc. And I really enjoy, excuse me 1 minute. I really enjoy the experience that I could have relating to the concept of being able to work with them. And a lot of what I was getting, even when it comes to me writing this book, okay, a lot of the information that I get comes from actual models in the industry already, comes from other agencies that I would speak with, comes from scouts or people that used to scout, comes from the scammers even. Oh yeah, you'd be surprised. I will sit right there and pretend like they're doing something important. And then I would basically be like, okay, here, I got some real good results for you, okay? Here's a truth between a scamming agency and an actual agency, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong, okay? You can have a training agency, and that's what SL Models and Talent Agency is developed the Dreamers division on. That is all about training and everything. So we're not promising bookings. That doesn't necessarily mean that the bookings could not happen. I mean, they could, they may not, but they're not promised, if that makes sense. So the focus is to get them trained and prepared. And if they do run and actually get some experience and get the actual bookings, and that's on them. Now, models, your turn comes up at the end of this week. So get prepared. I'm on a sticky subject right now, but I have a sticky subject for the modeling part. This has to do with those of you out there who got the line of excuses, okay? And I'm going to explain how those excuses can actually hurt you in the long run, regardless of whatever you may be thinking in your mind, because again, the whole purpose of this is the psychology of, okay, not just something that you're dreaming up out of. Now, let me give you an example of individuals, and this goes for also SLMTA, this goes for agencies as well. this term being on, because it was used with me actually today, believe it or not. So I want to give you an example. Moving on does not mean that you could dictate who's in your life and who is not, or to close yourself up and not. Because you know what? Every time that you close yourself up, the more you are actually pretending. So I want to be able to get into it. I want to get into this subject matter with more of an ability to explain to you exactly what's happening. Because the underlying issue of someone where, say you don't communicate with them and all of a sudden they're on your mind and you want to communicate with them. So you're like, hello, how are you? Right? And then they just give you like this cheap talk, like, oh, sup, what's up? Right? And then it's like, that's not what I'm used to getting when I get back. So then you're like, okay, let's try that. I see that you were like here, and everywhere. How is all this going? Do you still have the same job that you had before, or something like that? Next thing you know, they come back with this, I moved on, and to be honest, I really don't want to be talking about, like, I really didn't want to be talking with you or whatnot. I understand you're trying to be a friend and blah, 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 right? Do you know that the minute that you say that, the underlying issue is that you actually have not moved on? Why? Because the underlying issue to that problem is that while you did not move on, you know why you did not move on. Because you have remembered what happened in the past. So you didn't want that to happen again. Therefore, you have not moved on, but you're going to tell the person they did. You know what that's called? In psychology, at least in my book, what I define that as is an emotional excuse. Yes, and an emotional excuse. This is where you are trying to find the best way for a closure issue, which is fine. If you want some information on that, we can talk about that in a minute. But this term moving on is not to move on thinking that you're going to dictate what karma comes up next or what's going to happen. It just, you don't know if the person will come back into your life, or if you end up being in the same direction as the person, or whatever the case may be. You don't know that. Now, you can try to say, I moved on, I decided that I'm not going to do this or do that, and I've done this and done that, and then see how far that takes you. And if it does, so that's great. A true person that will move on is a person that does not think back about the events at all, and will actually move forward with the understanding that there is a new chapter in front of you. So if you have all these good things going on, okay, and you know that you have moved on from the past, and that's what you're saying, that you have moved on, then even if your worst enemy came back to your life, it would almost be as if it was nothing more than a clown that you could laugh at. That is not something that you have to be careful of. Why? Because you've already moved on. You went past that subject matter. But a lot of people think that moving on means that it distracts them from actually never seeing a person again, or that they shouldn't see the person again, or that it even matters. So be very careful of that, especially when it comes to business. You could say that you're moving on with business, but then you don't know if you were the one with the mistake or if the other person's the one with the mistake. But at the same time, you cannot dictate who was at fault. All you could really do is move on from whatever had happened at that moment in time. But if you're going to restrict things, if you're going to make changes, you want to make changes that are going to be more relevant to your position, not just because you're expecting something to happen where it would be like, oh, this is my way. I could just get them out of my life once and for all. Let's just do it this way. It would be a lot easier, because actually it doesn't work that way. Believe me when I say it doesn't work that way. In the beginning, you might have thought that it was right, but it's not. In fact, what you're doing is you're proving to yourself exactly why you're stuck. The reality as to why you're stuck. All right. Now, I am going, hello. Oh, there was a few of you on there. Okay. Hi, Ron. Hello, Clark. How are you all doing? Thank you for visiting. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section down below. And if you're interested, please do not forget to subscribe at our YouTube channel, SL Models and Talent Agency LLC. It's the gold icon with the red ring around it. That is us. And hit the notification bell if you're interested in some of our VIP events that will go on with live stream and on YouTube only. Okay. So what I want to try to address with you now is what is a fake and a real agency. What is a fake and a real agency? Now, by the way, this is the first time ever that you will probably see me put the topic sentence at the top of the whole entire paragraph, because I'm going to tell you what makes an agency fake or real with these next examples coming up. And again, it is a very sticky subject matter. So if you were to want to know more about it, or if you are in disagreement with me, you might want to be a little bit careful as to how this is being addressed, because the things that I basically have here that are listed are coming from actual agencies, scouts, models themselves, as well as entertainment lawyers that are out there that are seeing how things are being done. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is the profit but not for profit on the models. Now, this is kind of a tricky situation, okay? And the reason that I say that is because you have to know how the agency is actually advertising. Now, normally I don't go in an exact row, and this time I'm not going to do that either. There are things that I want to explain, and they're not going to be in the exact order that I have introduced to you in the subject line. But in this area, you're going to be hearing me talk about some agencies are because as agencies are actually working for the profit, but not for the profit of the model and talent of the roster. All right. Let's actually talk about, we're going to skip that subject line real fast. let's talk about false advertisement and copyright. And you're going to see why I had to jump to that in order to get back up there to the other one. Now, the majority of you know that false advertisement is relevant to making promises that you're not able to keep. Like there's something that is there, or there's wrong dates of certain things are not actually relevant, whatever the case may be, right? I am here to tell you that in an agency's point of view, a false advertisement is not so much about having wrong dates. They have the right dates. It's what you need to know the difference of what is actually pretend and what is not. What is fake and what is not. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's do this. I'm going to give you an advertisement right now, right? I'm going to actually do an example. SL Models and Talent Agency has 5 of the most best brands of the T-shirt factory. And for a limited time offer, you can get up to 8 colors of your versatile tank, V-neck, and scoop. Okay. You can get these starting at $19.99 and be delivered within 3 days. Now, I'm giving you an example of what a false advertisement is. Where do you think the false advertisement in just this one little example was at? I'm going to tell you. How do you get 5 of the most best in the market and that you are able to deliver 8? You can't, right? Unless you had 8 of the best things that you were like, here, I'm going to give you 8 starting at $19.99. But if I'm telling you I only have 5, then how is it that you got 8? See what I'm getting at? And boy, did this advertisement seem so true. It really did. It was like, it was so true, too good to be true. Like you could get 8 of the best things, but there's only 5 there. Okay, now let's change this around. Let me give you another example. I'm going to use the same example, but I'm going to give you a different example and how it's said. The SLMTA's versatile tank V-neck scoop, 8 colors to choose from, $19.99. You can look at our catalog of information where you can find everything out at www.tanktop.com, and you will see aqua, white, ivory, red, and charcoal. The most 8 expressive colors that you will ever see on the market for your tank tops. Please come today and order yours. Only $19.99. Well, what's wrong with that advertisement? While it sounds so true, It was until I started naming the colors, and there was only 4 colors or 5 maybe that I have named. So what do? You then get curious, you go to the catalog, and you might find out that there's only 4 colors. So now you're saying, well, that's because there's only 4 colors available now. So what do? You go then to the merchant, you actually go to the distributor to find out if there was any origination of 8 other colors. If you're not able to figure it out then you'll be sitting there all day until you figure out when they're going to come up with 8 colors again. The point that I'm getting at is if it's too good to be true, it's probably not true. All right, I'm going to give you a little bit harder example. I used to play this game. Like, can you tell what's fake and what's not? I wish there was some of you actually here with me that could communicate with me, because we could have really played a game tonight. It would have been the lying game to see who could be the most professional liar and get away with it. But unfortunately, it's almost what, 10 o'clock at night? Yeah, so there's probably nobody that's want to sit around and play games. All right. So I'm gonna have to make my game up. And I want you guys to hear these examples. And then I'm gonna explain to you where the lie is in this, okay? SL Models and Talent Agency is so excited to bring to you today our top #1 model of the year. JJ, there we go. We'll just make up a name. Our top model of the year, JJ. And he has been on billboards. He has been on, he has been in print magazines. He has been the art of the architecture. He has been everywhere. Let me tell you, our big brand sponsor, makeupartistry.com, has connected JJ to the most available experience ever with a top-notch Hollywood world-renowned photographer, where the most expensive photo shoot was given for $1. And hold on, that's not even the kicker yet. Hold on, I got some more to tell you. And when he got out of that photo shoot, he landed 35 jobs. 35 jobs, one right after another after another. Okay, bring. Okay, I'm interested in so-and-so. Do you have a resume for him? Yeah, just give me one moment. Okay, here's the resume. So he was photo shoot with Dr. Dorman out of the front lawn. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make this is nowhere near real. But you're getting the idea of where I'm coming from with this, okay? So let me just finish this because it's terrible. There's agencies out there that are doing this. So I'm just going to tell you what kind of fun that sounds like. Okay. Yeah. So he actually had a photo shoot with Mr. Dorman, Dr. Dorman, out across the street. And then there was there was a photo shoot up in New York. We went up there, and apparently 40 agencies saw him. And oh, by the way, like he was like the #1 in like all of our showcases and everything. I mean, he's untouchable, unstoppable. There ain't nothing you're gonna do. You're not gonna get him. And you know what the agency had told me after that? They said, I don't think I'm interested in wanting to touch him, or I don't care if he's stoppable or anything of that. Because I'm not even sure who Dr. Dorman is, and I don't know anything about who this person is, but you gave me photos and I thought that maybe I could work with them. Folks, that's false advertisement. Here's another good example of a false advertisement. You ready? Okay. Like I said, I wish we could play the lie game because I wouldn't, that was made very obvious, but here you go. I'm going to give you something that's actually more difficult. Okay. Hi, I'm Dr. Samuel Lombardo from SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. I've been in the industry for over 50 years, and I have served many different agencies from my college education all the way through. Now I own my own agency for the past 40 years, and it has been the most astounding thing ever. I love doing the work. I love all the artists that I've been with. I cannot wait to continue working with them. And by the way, we are growing by the day. We're growing leaps and bounds. And right now, SL Models and Talent Agency is the top, the #1 notch, nippy notch, toppy yoppy da. Now, you know that part was false, but I figured I'd throw that in there. Wink, wink. In the local area of Grand Rapids, we are growing leaps and bounds. Many different models comes and visit us but my 50 years of experience in the industry has been very well appreciated. Everybody knows me. I could go to LA and I'll walk down the streets of Beverly Hills and they'll all be like, da 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 da, there he is. There's that dumbbell from YouTube talking about years surpassing his age. Now, you tell me now, do you think that any of that in the beginning of what I was saying is true? Do you actually believe that I had 40 years experience? Now, I'm going to give you a huge hint. I am 39 years old. Okay. And I still had to grow up at least 10 years. So, do you think I have 40 years experience in the industry? Oh, and better yet, do you honestly think that I had 50 years? Do you think SLMTA was around for 50 years? Now, I've told you already what you need to do. You need to actually go and open corporates.com, put in the corporation information, and you will see how long a corporation's been around. Now, I'm going to tell you another little secret, okay? Let's say that I used to run an agency, okay? let's say I used to run an agency called All Stars LLC. All right. And then my foot got crushed and I wasn't able to run no agency. I had nobody to take care of it. I had no backup plan. Nothing was going to happen. So I had to shut the thing down. So then it got dissolved. And then I come back again and then say maybe 5 years later. Does that mean that SLMTA has been around for 25 years just because 20 years before that, All Stars LLC was there and it was ran by the same person, meaning me? This is where it gets tricky. Because you don't want to underestimate yourself, but at the same time, you don't want to overexert yourself, right? So as an agency owner, typically what you will do, because at this point, you no longer own the rights to that name, that trademark is out. So as far as you claiming that the agency's been around for 50 years, even if it is true that you had 4 other names before that, that particular agency was not around for 40 years. Uh-oh, what are you trying to get at now, Samuel? Are you trying to subtract all my experience out of my life? Is that what you're trying to do? No, that's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is clear up the advertisement piece of it. Okay, this happens with people, which is why I explained earlier that you need to, and I'm actually going to talk about chapter 8 here in the next couple of weeks, where it's going to explain more about what you need to do to get a backup plan so that you don't have to keep opening up LLCs or corporations for every time that someone drops off the face of the earth. All right. Now, your experience is very important to you. So you always want to make sure that you're being right about that. And what do? At some place, somewhere, you do milestones. Milestones is everything about who you are and how your agency revolved around who you are. Now, if you had other agencies in the past, what you do is in the revolving statements of your milestone, you say that I had headed past tense, this, or this. And now for the past 5 years, this and this and this was going on. Now it looks as if it's professional and you actually see year for year for year what you were doing in the industry. It doesn't matter even if it was agency related. You could have been the top doll girl on the runway and that you won 500 awards in the year 2009. It don't matter to me. That's your milestone, and that's what you could brag about, because that is what you did. Okay, that's your milestone. But if you're going to come to me saying that oh, my agency was open for 40 years, I'm going to tell you no, your agency was not. Why? Because public record says so. Now, do I know that you might have ran other ones? Yes. Now, it's up to you if you want to dig further and find out the real reason behind why they can't keep an agency longer for 5 years. That's up to you. I will tell you that if people do research like I do, like if they have the time to spend to be able to do it, that's why we look at the legitimacy and we find out if we even want to get involved with you right from the get-go, because we know how to do it. We know exactly what to do. We know how to get the files, even from the ones that you think are dead. We know how to get those files already. We would already have those files before you even asked us for them. Why? Because it's open records. Okay, even if you don't want them open, they're open records. You can go and get my files. You're more than happy to do it. I'm telling you, the SLMTA is only 2 years old, roundabout. Yeah. Well, 09/13/2019 is when we started. So 09/13/2021 will be 2 years. There you go. But I have a milestone. I got about 25 years worth of milestone that I'm actually happy about. Now, no, SLMTA was the only actual model agency that I ever ran. Okay, so this is a whole new milestone that I'm actually taking up. Okay, as far as being able to help models and talent. And I'm excited about it. Every time when there's someone new that will sign. What I'm upset about is when I explain to them how truthful SLMTA is, and then somewhere in their mind, they are still stuck with some kind of skepticism, and then they decide that they don't want to move forward anyway. And we hadn't even talked about a dime. And we hadn't even, like, our contracts don't even talk about needing money. The only time we talk about needing money is if you're signed up as a new face and you're in the Dreamers division, then we have to get you to sign an addendum for the training. Why? Because it's a proven fact that you've been with us for a half a year and you hadn't done anything. Even if you're sitting there telling us, oh, well, I'm getting this done, I'm getting that done, it's going to look like this, it's going to look like that, and I'm still 6 months in and still waiting, that doesn't really cut it. You could talk and talk and talk, but if you're not walking what you're talking, then unfortunately, it doesn't help me much. Again, we'll talk about that when I start talking about models and talent. And most of that is going to be about Dreamers, not so much about pro models. Pro model, when I talk about pro models, I'm talking about really those with a resume, not somebody that's sitting there trying to act as if, meaning pretending, sitting behind a camera every other day, making all these photos up and then maybe plastering up Vogue or letters in front of it to make it look like they're like in this magazine or that magazine. No, the reason that here's how I know if whether or not it is true. When I go and I actually buy or I have that actual subscription of that magazine, I'll see you in there. If you're saying that you're in the Ella magazine or a Bizarre magazine, because I purchase these magazines. So come on, folks, it's public knowledge. If you're in the magazine, I'm going to see you in the magazine. Don't sit there and tell me that you're in something that you're not in. Don't tell me that this client is a client of yours, and then I'm looking at the database of the clientele just to find out that you're not even listed there. Yes, we know how to do these things. SLMTA does not play garbage with nobody or nothing. We don't have time for that because we know how people scam in this industry. But let me explain to you the biggest scam that was out there not too long ago, and I'm not sure if it's actually still there or not. I think they might have finally crushed it. I'm hoping so. Is the Indonesian scam. And there's been a lot of folks that were so desperate to want to get in front of a camera to say that they've done something, that they would go to a place and then be stuck out there and not know, and then they end up living out on the street of a deserted area that they don't even know how to read the language. Now, what makes a person go all the way to another country halfway across the world to something if you couldn't even get in contact with them from the get-go? See, now that's something that SLMTA does not entertain. If they're going to tell me that there's a client out there in Indonesia that wants any of my actual artists and model, they have to pay. If you are international, I don't care if it's UK, France, Spain, or wherever. If you are using our model, you are paying for their food, their motel, and their way out there. You are paying probably at least $2,000 a day per model. Okay, now that's on our enlisted models, our direct booking. I'll explain in a minute what I mean by the direct booking process, because some folks, I don't think they understand what it is, and some of them are trying to use it as another way to scam the profit, their pocketbook. Direct booking is just simply this, okay? It is clients who are seeking out the regular within the agencies that have specific job orders. They are already, we have a page for clients, just clients by themselves, where they actually sign up and they have to give us paperwork like budget, files, everything, to let us know what we're working with. If they're a low budget, a medium-sized budget, a high budget, or whatever. Because some of our direct bookings, like I said, like someone like Ashraf Tausi will get booked and it'll be $10,000 a day. All right. Even with a low budget, the low budget, if you want a supermodel on a low budget, that starts out about $2,000. Now that's on a model perspective. When it comes to like artists or whatnot, like if you're looking for an actor, it could be around the same amount. We've usually told them it's easier to buy them out, but you're gonna have to come up with a very good price to be able to do that, because they're getting booked with other folks. They go by what they see in their schedule that's gonna fit them, because again, they are the brand. So while the client might seem like they own the model per se, if someone is going to buy them out for $50,000 and it'll last 3 months for that project, but you're only paying say $2,000 say a week, okay, then the model might start there, but you might have to be held up if they're going to be going over here. That's usually, unfortunately, that's how it basically really goes when it comes to direct bookings. Because the model is going to go where they see fit. Okay, what the agency does is we basically make it fit in the schedules and we try to negotiate everything out. But there are certain things where they just simply don't work. And then especially when it comes to if you're doing the freelancing thing, well, freelancers know that they have to stick out the responsibility. Unfortunately, that is true. But if you are a super model, and believe me, when you're going to start using those terms, supermodel, you have to know whether or not that person is a supermodel. But let's talk about supermodels. Let's talk about that. Supermodels. Because I'll give you a hint of what it is. SLMTA, which is our world-renowned top model for SLMTA, he is a supermodel. Meaning he doesn't just have a resume with made up bullcrap on it. He actually he doesn't need a resume because they keep booking him. So all you gotta do is look at the book report. As funny as that sounds, no pun intended. You can look at the book report and that will be your resume because it's a constant thing. Okay. 9 times out of 10, you might get that occasional 1% in there where a supermodel will even be busy enough to be able to say, yeah, okay, I will be willing to do a workshop or I'll be willing to do a seminar, and could actually actually have some time off to be able to do it. But let me explain to you the American Webster Dictionary version of supermodel. Now, this is a little bit, you know, you're going to have to figure this piece out, okay, for yourself on how this goes. But the Webster Dictionary says that a supermodel is an extremely prominent and successful model who can command very high fees. Well, let's talk about, we know what successful is, okay? Successful is someone that basically has a resume, but someone like SLMTA, which is what's going on right now, is he don't even have time to even give you a resume. All he's saying is, well, look at my book report. And when you look at the book report is showing like, I got a booking today, I got a booking tomorrow, I got to go over here by 12. And then at 1, I got to do this. At 2, I got to do this. 3, blah, 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 blah. Like, what in the world? Holy smoke. That schedule looks worse than mine, and I thought I had it bad. I'm serious. When I'm seeing something, and he's not the only supermodel. There are supermodels that I actually do have on my roster where they have like 5 jobs scheduled out in a particular day. Like at 1 o'clock, I'm doing this. At 2 o'clock, I'm doing that. At 3 o'clock, I'm doing, and it's like, I hope they're like 30 minutes apart. I mean, your makeup's not gonna wipe off your face before then or whatever, right? Like, like I'm trying to figure out how all this is happening, but it happens. Some of them actually, there's one that actually drives around with a makeup artist just so that the makeup will stay on the face in order to get all the gigs done that, you know, she's able to do. Well, we know what successful is, okay? Successful is when you actually have a resume, you have proof that you have done this, 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 and this, right? You might have been, and by the way, I get agencies that try to tell me that so-and-so is with AFTRA, SAG, and all that. And all you really have to do is go and look under the reports of the SAG and AFTRA, or if you have to, just call them up and they'll let you know confirm the name, and they would let you know. But prominent, let's talk about prominent. What does prominent mean? Because it says an extremely prominent, okay? So this is what prominent means in the Webster Dictionary. Okay. Standing out so as to be seen easily, particularly noticeable, conspicuous. Standing out beyond the adjacent service or line projecting, leading, important, or well-known. So that would mean that, let me ask you a question. And this is, everybody knows Taylor Swift, right? Everybody. It doesn't matter if you're from an agency that's out there in Indonesia, like I just said, or if you're the client out in Tokyo, or if you're over there in India, or if you're in Morocco, or if you're in LA, or if you're in New York, everybody knows who she is, right? You could type it in English and they still know who she is, and they don't even know English at all. Okay. So they all know who she is. That would be an example of what a supermodel is. Now, a lot of times they don't want to be bragged out. That's why our confidentiality agreements are so strict. We will not tell you who our supermodels are that are listed. And the only reason that we bring up Ashraf is because he is actually coming in and running our international division. It is, we give him an actual, we have an actual rapport that celebrates what he's willing to do, besides the fact that he is a supermodel. Now, he's a supermodel in the perspective of the international ground. So he needs to make that up over here in America. All right. So that's just a little bit of a FYI as well. But it's not going to be that difficult. It isn't going to be difficult at all. He is a natural being type type A, high-end fashion related model. So he would be able to get those goods. Okay. Long story short, I'm not trying to brag on him the whole entire night, but the whole point is that everybody knows exactly who Taylor Swift is. You know, or Beyonce, for example, or any of those, Bruno Mars even is coming out there like that. All right. All these folks, you know who they are. I don't have to sit there and be like, oh, okay, hold on, let me look it up so that I could tell you who I'm talking about, or you got to sit there and go under Google to find out the name. You know who they are without even blinking, right? Well, if you're going to say that you have a supermodel on your roster, or that someone has claimed to be a supermodel, you got to make sure that they are reaching the status of a supermodel. Now, I get some folks that will watch this and they'll say, well, what you believe a supermodel or a pro model is up to SLMTA, but what we define, no, it's not a definition. I just gave you the Webster Dictionary of what a supermodel is. It isn't SLMTA's viewpoint of what a supermodel is. The common Joe out there knows what a supermodel is. So the way they look at it is, if I don't know you, then you're not super. You might be a model, you might be a pro model. In that case, that could be an example of a pro model where you actually have an extensive resume. Where you become super is when you are actually well known. Like, are you somebody that I could just sit here with 100 of random people and call out your name and all 100 people will say, yeah, so I know who he is or who she is. If you can't do that, then you're not super. You may be a pro, but people, I don't know how to explain that. I'm trying to be fair and I'm trying to be as I'm trying to be exactly very on point about these subject matters. Like I said, they're sticky. The reason that they're sticky is because some folks have it in their mind that the minute that they have the first booking, I'm Superman. I'm like the Superman. No, until you are proven that you could wear that outfit and that you could turn around and you could defeat all the slums that Superman had to deal with, then apparently you're not Superman. Okay. Now, if you played the Superman movie and you want to claim that you're Superman, yes, I got you. I got your point there, right? Okay, you were Superman, right? But if you never played in the movie as Superman, you're not going to tell me that you're Superman because the name's going to match the character, okay? I would be able to know if you were playing Superman. Just go through the credits of the movie. I mean, folks, come on. Seriously. I'm Joe Schmo and I played Batman. Oh, really? I've heard of two different people playing Batman, but I never heard of Joe Schmo. That's the point that I'm trying to get at is because the minute you overexert yourself, and I hate to say this, and I got to be very clear and straight and to the point, all right? The more that you overexert yourself, the more of a foolish game you are playing. I'll let you define that for yourself because you don't want to sit there and do that. It's not a fun situation for yourself. Just like you don't want to underexert, you don't want to underestimate yourself either. Because then it doesn't make you, it doesn't allow you the room where you can actually grow. Underestimating yourself could be that maybe you fall into being a pro model, right? But you're acting like a supermodel, but you're actually a pro model. And then you turn around and you start advertising yourself as, well, I don't have any of this experience, like you're a shy person without experience. You don't want to do that. But you also don't want an agency that's going to overexert who you are if you're coming in. Agencies will do that, let me tell you. I'm probably the only agency out there. Well, that's because I don't really, we just started. Like I said, 9/13/2021 will be 2 years in business. But let's say I was 15 years in the business right? And there was someone that had left SLMTA, and then we wanted to bring them back to, you know, do a workshop if I'm even able to do it, because 9 times out of 10 they're extremely busy, so you're not able to like get an actual supermodel. But if you knew that they were becoming a supermodel status, and that's great. But if it was easy for you to just say, oh, by the way, would you like to come today for like blah blah blah, and it was very easily done, then 9 times out of 10 in that occasion they probably were not super. They just they had a weekend off and was able to do it. Well, anyway, that's besides the point. The point that I'm getting at for tonight's discussion is that some agencies will try to overexert the people coming in, and they will say they're supermodels, they are like the world award-winning this and that. But you can literally go and actually look on the public records, folks, and watch all these lies coming out. It doesn't take much. I mean, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to do a video. It's not in my book because I would, there's some things they would not allow me to put in a book. And that's because of, it would have just smacked everybody in the face, in all honesty. I believe that true advertisement is the way to go. There is a such thing as smart advertisement too, but to deceive someone, it's total fake. Okay, like you, okay, here we go. If I turned around and I said, SL Models and Talent Agency is top model, super model, higher art, world award-winning Malik is showing up and going to do the #1 workshop that is going to explain everything about the industry as a whole. Something like that. Well, it seems very good to be true, right? Until the minute that you get there and then you find out, so who is the supermodel again? Oh, it's him. Oh, him? I don't know him. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you did know him. Oh, this is Joe Schmo. Okay. He is the award-winning for like, let me think about it for a minute. Oh yeah, he had the Grammys award-winning. And then you sit there and you're trying to make it seem so like joyous, right? Point that I'm getting at is that there are certain areas where you want to be at certain levels. Come on now, you got to be following me, okay? There is no way that you're going to sit there and try to dictate your own levels of achievements to say that certain things happen. No, there are certain levels to reach Hall of Fame. There are certain levels to reach supermodel status. There are certain levels that tell someone that you're a pro model. And if you're not fitting any of them, then what you're doing is you're totally 100% embarrassing not only yourself, but the people involved. Yes, this is a sticky subject matter. I told you. You might breeze in here for a minute and start hearing one thing and then breeze right on out the next minute, like, oh, this person, does he know what he's talking about? Oh, I know what I'm talking about. I've been in this for a minute. The agency might have not been open for 2 years yet, but I have been open for quite a few years. See, that's true advertisement. Why? Because I'm telling you about the agency being open less than 2 years. But yes, I have actually been open for much longer. What I'm saying is that my experience. Follow me, folks. Come on, follow me, follow me, follow me. All right. Follow me on YouTube, SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. The gold icon with the red ring around it. Subscribe there and hit that notifications bell. You don't want to miss any of the VIP announcements and things that'll be happening over there very shortly. Okay. Also, don't forget to become a member if you're interested in becoming a member and supporting the SLMTA community, as we do have many members thus far, and that money goes back to our scholarship fund for our Dreamers Division Community Stars program. Yes, indeed. We have everything from a basic package to a VIP package and everything in between. You'll follow us at www.patreon.com/SLMTA. If you're interested in some SLMTA merchandise, so you can also go to www.teespring.stores.com/SLMTA_model. So that's where you can find our Teespring merchandise as well. So yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We are looking at 600. We're going to be heading to 1,000 subscribers by the end of next week. I almost guarantee it. I mean, we are close to 500. We were at 500. Let's see what's going on now. The subscriptions have been just crazy lately. Crazy. Yes. Oh boy. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. I hit 500 on the one level, but I'm at 612 on the channel analytics level. So folks, we are heading into the 700 club now. Come on. We are doing this. I love it. This is great news. Great news for sure. All right. And we also just have gotten 10 new Patreons. Congratulations. Thank you for your support. And indeed, we will also be inviting you to enjoy your perks as well. They are monthly subscriptions, but I guarantee you will love them. You will love your perks. Indeed. And when we actually become monetized on YouTube, we will also be able to do memberships there that will actually be able to help you guys communicate a lot better. You can actually do different like different types of emojis and things. It's going to be fun. We're gonna put some emojis up there. We're gonna do our dancing bears, lemon queens and kings, and we're gonna we're gonna make an exciting moment out of that. Indeed. All right, so let's go back to our topic. Yes, why are certain agencies not being heard? Would anybody want to hear about some make pretend information? Now understand that. Agency, now you're saying that the models have to present themselves, right? That it's the first impression. Well, let me hold up. I'm about to smack your hand because it ain't just the model. No, it's not. It's not just the model. Guess who else it is? It's you. It's your brand. It's your business. It's your vision. It's your purpose. It is you. You. Who is the one that's going to be more important when it comes, especially when it comes to supermodels? Now, understand this, SLMTA, this is not part of the topic tonight. It's going to be part of the topic toward the middle of the week, perhaps, if I could get to it. But we're going to talk about how you can gain direct bookings, but it is very, very difficult. No, I'm not talking about the model getting direct booking, so because that will happen on a natural level. But how can a agency become a supermodel agency? First of all, I'm going to tell you the first step that is necessary, that is part of tonight's discussion. And that is that you cannot be focused on your pocketbook. You have to be focused on the models. What does that mean? What are you talking about? I always thought that if I start a business, I have to profit. That's what you're probably thinking. I'm supposed to profit, not them. Let me tell you something. If that is in your mind, then you better go jump in a pool, water down that mind up a little bit and jump back out and get back to your purpose and plan the way it should be. Because it is actually about the model. See, your client is what's important. You do have to have your clients, but you can have 500 clients, and if you don't have a roster, doesn't matter. The clients will just be like, well, when you sign somebody, let me know. That's what they'll basically say. Boy, I'm so excited. I don't know what they got in this tea. I hope I'm not like getting drunk or something, because my lordy, I'm so hyper tonight. You can actually tell. It's like, I don't know, like I must have been smelling something or something. I don't know what's going on. We are doing it. I'm telling you, we are up there for subscriptions, Patreons, everything. I am so excited. And I'm not even pretending. Just go to SL Models and Talent Agency LLC. You will see the subscribers there. Okay, I'm not lying. I mean, I could sit there and tell you, I could blow smoke up your butt, believe me, but that not on that one. All right, anyway, let's continue on our subject matter. In a more serious note, the one way that you want to be sure that you're in the right phase of developing direct bookings is to realize that it's about the models and your talent than about your pocketbook. What do I mean by that? That means that you may have to change your whole entire plan. Why do you think that there are agencies out there that are SAG-AFTRA franchised? Now, there's a few agencies out there that are just flat out jealous. It's a confirmation now. You want to know how I know that? Because when I go and I actually ask, because that's what we are looking for here at SL Models and Talent Agency, when we start seeing things like supermodels and all of that, and they're bragging these names out, we go straight to them, because the idea is most of them know that they're not tied up to one agency. They don't have to be. Okay. So when they are in this agency, it's just a matter of who is the best negotiator. And unfortunately, where our rivalries come in at is the fact that we actually know how to negotiate. We can literally book in an instant on most cases because of we are not working on the actual pocketbook per se, but that we are focusing more on how we're getting the clients to work with our models and or talent, depending on the type of client, like if it's a film producer, casting agency, advertising agency, etc. But you will have these individuals where it happens. Now, we have a sophisticated website that I will explain when I'm ready to, but we don't even put the roster on it. We will put the name in the drop down, but you actually have to sign up for an account and we have to approve you before we accept you. Oh yeah, it's that sophisticated. When you do, you will get a login information. And then you will be able to see the different names that we basically have available in our supermodel list that would be signed with us, that is. And then depending on, it doesn't matter, like you could do the checkbox option or you could do the drop down option. Okay, the drop down is in case if you're doing one person. If you're doing more than one, then you would list them by check, put a check by their names or whatnot. Long story short, we give a quote based off of what you're doing, but we also would need to know about your budget because we believe that anything under $1 million or whatnot would actually be a low budgeted item. Why? Because we're looking at the full extent. We're not looking at, oh, okay, you need to shoot for that day, for example, if you're a film producer. We're looking at what the full budget is for the duration of, say, the whole entire movie process. If you're doing episodes, it will be per episode. The idea is that it gives us an understanding of what you need to be doing in order and how these payments are being paid or what. And now we know exactly that everything is happening as far as our artists are concerned, okay? Our talent. Now, as far as how we get paid, any real agent basically knows this. We get 10% of what the model gets if they are a union member. Okay, if you're non-union, it's 15%. Okay, that's how our contracts are stated. Now, we accept both union and non-union. We have the union understanding. The only thing that we're missing right now, which we're establishing that with, no, let me kill that off. We're not establishing it. We are working towards it. There we go. Of becoming a signatory agency ourselves. Now, at that point, you are basically working, you are at the very next to the last step of actually becoming an actual supermodel type agency. Now, the reason that I'm saying that we're a supermodel type agency is because we happen to land supermodels and world renowned and whatnot. So we have those connections. So for the most part, we're more established of a national agency. Once our office is open in Paris, we will actually end up being world renowned. Now, there are agencies that will lie out of their whatever and just say hello to somebody at a friend who happens to run some kind of an agency, and then turn around and tell you, we have a connection in France, we're good. I'm here to tell you that's not how it works. And if you're only doing things by a handshake, unfortunately, even if you are faithful, believe me, you could be the most faithful person, and I understand that. And these are the people that actually, what's the word I'm looking, where people take advantage of those people. Oh, you're faithful, you're nicer and all that, right? Well, let me tell you something. Nice does not mean that you take that for my weakness, because there is no weakness in this bones any longer. Believe me, I've hit my weak bottom, so I know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. So do not take my niceness for weakness, as if you think that I would not know what I'm doing, or that perhaps you'll have a better benefit, a little bit lesser benefit with us versus other agencies. No. In fact, we're actually a little bit more stricter in some cases, especially when it comes to the clients. We need to make sure that the clients are exactly what they say they are and what they are. Okay, there is no, oh, well. And for some reason, every time I go online, I get this, like this hanging thread in my eye. So if you see me actually rubbing my eye, that's what it is. It's not that I'm tired. I mean, I am tired too, to an extent, but that's not why I'm rubbing the eye. I'm rubbing the eye because there's like a hanging thread there. In any case, so the first step of you actually becoming a actual supermodel agency is to be able to get the right accomplishment, the right the right attractions. And I'm not talking about conventions. Conventions is one thing. Artist Gala would actually be one of your ways where you would want to attract supermodels. Why? Because that's what Artist Gala is. So if you're looking at wanting to get yourself close enough to an actual, to the other level of convention, that's where Artist Gala fits. Okay, I've just given you an example of that. Because we have supermodel registries in there. And what we do is when they are signing up for their memberships in their registries in the Artist Gala, some of them could even fit in the Hall of Fame, depending on their level of expertise and whatnot. But they do become part of the roster in the SLMTA's supermodels registry. Why? Because we don't want to be able to do anything that has, and by the way, you won't even see supermodel listed on our website. We have a division for the supermodels where we have specific relatable contracts for them, for their purpose. So if you're on the website and you're like, oh, well, where's your supermodels at? You're not going to see them because, like I said, we keep them very, very confidential. One of the reasons is that we don't, there's a process for you to be able to hire them. That's the number one thing. Okay, so you have to get that through. The other piece of it is that a lot of the supermodels do not want their pictures and all that to just be splattered all over the place. And of course, there are certain different types of meanings to what embarrasses a supermodel versus what might embarrass the average Joe, if that makes sense. So we try not to have any issues relevant to that at all. That's where copyright comes in. Let's talk about copyright, because we talked a lot about false advertising. False advertising, first of all, is anything at all that is going to be questionable. If you started a new business, when I say a new business, what I'm saying is that maybe between now and the past 5 years, okay, because that's usually the average of what a new business is. If you have started a new business between now and the past 5 years, then you want to advertise it as such, even if you had other agencies that did not succeed for one reason or another in the past. But that doesn't mean that you cannot advertise those. It's called milestones. Develop a page on your website that talks about milestones of places where you have worked and people whom you have worked with. You can do that. But if you're going to try to tell me that somebody that is 39 years old, for example, was with you for 28 years, and that your business only shows up that it's only been registered for 3, then we have a problem when it comes to how that's actually advertised. Why do I say that? Because it might have been that you might have worked with that person for 28 years, but not necessarily, that's not what that particular company did. You see what I'm getting at? Because whatever happened in other companies, like you could work for All Stars, My Trains, SLMTA, everything. You could work for 5 other companies, even if they were the ones that you created, but they no longer exist, which means that you cannot advertise something that's not there. You cannot. It is actually illegal too. When I talk about false advertisement, I'm talking about the type of advertising that you're saying that is something that you did from then all the way to now. That's the impression that you would be giving somebody. So you have to knock that down. You have to break it apart. Okay, so for 30 years, I have been over here. For 20 years, I've been over there. And then I decided I opened up my own thing. And wow. And now I actually have an award-winning representative from whom I worked with when I worked over here. Now that makes sense because now I'm actually following. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. So you worked with him at this agency, and then now that you are with this one, you have this project that is for pro model. So now you actually, oh, okay, I got it now. Okay. Now it makes better sense. And when you advertise the person, you have to figure out what that person is. Not putting a definition on them for yourself. Woo, that's a bad one. That's the hardest one because some of these agencies, and I'm talking about the new ones. I'm not talking about the ones like Elite, Ford, and those, okay? Those are the ones that would have a variety, and it goes all the way to supermodels as well. But if you notice, you go on their site, they'll just have a list. It's like men, woman, whatever, and then new faces. You will never see the list anywhere supermodels, or unless you happen to hit one of my sites or some other site that is out there where you're trying to figure out how to get Beyonce to actually get hired. Good luck trying, right? Type of thing. And actually what we are starting to do, we're actually making a whole agreement to see if we can work with the record labels, because it was something that was just brought to my attention about probably a couple months ago, and I was deciding on it, and I was like, yeah, that would be an awesome thing if that could happen. So I have drafted some information. That's all that you need to know right now in regards to that. What I will tell you is that you want to make sure, because you pretty much know who a supermodel is. You can go on you can actually go to the public records and you can research it, list of supermodels in America, and it will actually tell you those specific things. Okay. If they're not listed there, then you'd have to try to come up with some plain excuse saying, well, not everybody wants to be listed there. Then I would have to say, okay, if not everybody wants to be listed there, then why is Taylor Swift there? Why is Beyonce there? Why is there? You're over here talking about not everybody wants to be listed. So what's the problem? Why would you not want to be listed as a supermodel at the very least? You know, and these are actual award winners where they are winning awards. I know this sounds stupid how I said that, but there are agencies out there, especially they're big in Pennsylvania. Oh my God, they're like annoyingly big in Pennsylvania. And there's some of them that are in New York too. Believe me, that these, I call them new face agencies in New York that are trying to compete with, like, say, New York Model Management, for example. Okay, things like that, where they're trying to say that they got all this stuff going on, but it's like I just don't know what to say. And here I am. I mean, I'm the CEO of my company, and we got what it takes for SLMTA. So the reason that I am actually laughing is because it's an embarrassment, and B, it's actually flat out stupid. Okay, it really is. It's like BS. But Pennsylvania, oh my God, they're listed everywhere. They talk about it constantly. I got the award-winning #1 so-and-so who's gonna teach you everything today about the acting roles. And I'm just sitting there like, my God, I could just go pick up a random model and they could tell you what they know about acting. And if you notice, I said model and not actor. Oh yeah, why? Because you could guess the basic information. Oh my goodness. It's just so, it's so weird. Even an actor could give you the basic information of a model. Because it's pretty much the same thing. You got to know how to react, how to act on a camera or whatever. Well, you got to know how to act and react and look on a camera when you're a model. The only difference is that you may be doing poses, but on a camera, you're actually acting. So all they have to do is keep their mouth closed and pose. That's it. Oh, Lordy, Lordy, what am I going to do tonight? What is next on our agenda for tonight? I ain't saying anything more than I need to. in that regards, because it's been crazy, believe me, when I say this. Um, uh-oh, where are you? There you are. So in any case, you want to be careful about how you're introducing people to your agency. Um, when they are doing different things to help, because you don't want to cause any. And here's the thing: you don't want to cause any undue embarrassment, but also there's a law with that too. Because if there is an agency such as SLMTA that is looking at agencies claiming that they have supermodels that are not listed as such, and they're using false advertising in such a way, it's something that is deemed necessary for an audit in the industry. And yes, if you're wondering what I keep saying about and when it comes to audit, so this is where things happen where people actually show up. And it's not just any person. It could be someone within the legal department. I'll give you an example. Let's say you don't have a license and you're sitting there playing all this music at a showcase, right? Even if you have a license, someone could call an audit to that showcase, even if they had to actually pay the price to get into it. All right, to actually go and actually audit exactly if the music's licensed or not. They know how to do it. I'm not going to tell you how it's done completely, but they know how to do it. And what happens is that they looking for the results to find out if it has not been licensed, what they are going to do, and you would be fined for it. Well, these are other issues that revolve around lawyers either calling into the office or something like that to try to get information. And you have to be careful because they could call in and it would be totally confidential, meaning that it's a conversation that they are either going to be asking for you to answer or that they would have to make a site visit. And then guess what? On top of the legal fees that you'd have to deal with, you'd have to deal with visitation fees because you forced the issue. So when you're being audited for certain things, what that is saying is, do you actually have the rights to that supermodel to claim them as such? Do you have the right? Because unfortunately, that is a right. Now, it's a different story having someone sign a photo release and you have them there, taking photos with you. Yeah, that's a different thing. As long as you have that, I guess you'd be all right, at the very least. But it's when you start falsely claiming that you have people on you, and it's the expression. It's not anything to do with like whether or not he or she could be a supermodel or not. It really has to do with the fact of whether or not you actually have them on the roster and if they ever were on your roster. Okay, which means that they would be auditing past businesses and all that to find out if that was a person you've ever done business with, or is this just a act being prepared to help deceive the newbies that are coming in? I mean, it's a terrible thing, but there are agencies out there that are doing it. I know of a particular agency that I won't give the name, but they are out of Pennsylvania, and they will turn around and take pictures, make them look so important, and make them look like they're the sexiest thing alive, okay? And then they will try to say that they have this award-winning certificate, that award-winning thing, but you know, you can find that out in public information. Just go and look up their names under the nominees for those specific awards that they claim. Now, most agencies will just say award winning. That's their new trick now. They will just say award winning, you know, and then they'll probably throw in there a little hint. And you could figure it out. You have to figure it out and then start looking at public record to believe, if you believe that that is actually true, then you don't have to do that. But in my case, it was too good to be true, because I was like, okay, here's an agency that not hardly anybody knows about. I would literally call LA up, because they claim that they've been all over LA, all over Miami. They've been everywhere, right? And by the way, they might have been in their own way, but not everybody knows anything. I would call up big agencies to actually see if they have to see if they have a connection somehow. Like, do you know of this company named blah, blah, blah? You know? So what happens is, long story short, they will turn around and they will actually say certain things that was fun, because I understand about confidentiality as well. Okay. And so I don't need to force anyone to say anything that they don't feel deemed qualified that they should say it. But we get the hints, and so we don't really answer like, oh, do you know? But it would be nice to at least know if they know, and that would be about the only question I would have to ask. Why? Because if they say, oh, it's confidential, if they know, like, I would tell them, if they need to know about SLMTA, knowing about you guys, or vice versa, let them know. But, you know, our agreements are considered confidential. Why? Because the basic thing is that you want to at least know that everybody knows each other. There's nothing wrong with that. There's not anything breaking a confidentiality agreement on whether you know somebody or not. And then if they ask why, then you could just say, oh, you know, I'm just interested. I was just curious, that's all. And then hang up the phone. That's the end of that conversation. But it's been a big issue where some of these agencies, and that's why I have to be very careful, as me being an owner of my agency, dealing with legitimate companies. When we opened up, we were actually, well, actually, no, let me back that up. When we opened up, we did actually have an issue where there was a confrontation with the Better Business Bureau about advertising. Now, when I say confrontation with the Better Business Bureau, I don't mean that somebody wrote a bad comment about us on the Better Business Bureau. What it basically means is that because we are a member of the Grand Rapids Chambers of Commerce, the Better Business Bureau saw that we qualified to be accredited. But then the more that they were looking into the business, see, they know how to do it. There's public records out there, believe me when I say it. They know how to do it. So when they go and they're researching SL models and tone agency, the first thing they come up with is actually the website. And then to be honest, with everything that was going on, it was really just website issues. And it was really about how you explain things. So I'm here to try to help you guys understand that the Better Business Bureau helped me understand when is the right time to call SLMTA a world-renowned agency. Now, even though that we are well known overseas now, until we get our office in France, which is coming very, very faster than I thought it was going to be. Actually, it might be slowed down a little bit because France is actually at a full lockdown again. Just FYI. But before the lockdown, we were like heading into like runway top talent #1 phase. And we were actually going to actually start our first fashion show, like get it lined up. I was literally ready to go send Iris and a few people out there to France for real. And we have the connections. There are many agencies in France, in Spain, in Germany. Even Ashraf Tausi owns his own agency in Germany that he wants to bring here to America. I mean, there's so many places. Right now, as I'm speaking, even though that I only have just under 500 or 700 or whatever subscribers on Facebook, there are about 500 million people worldwide listening to me as I'm interacting with you about how to start or advertise an agency. I shouldn't even have this conversation, but I'm having it. Why? Because some of us actually do not understand how to do it. Now, I'm not going to pull the judgment card and say, okay, well, that doesn't mean that means that you don't know how to run an agency. How is it that you have 30 years experience if you don't know how to advertise? Because let me tell you something. It isn't that they don't know how to advertise. It's that they chose to be cunning. They were running their agency to be cunning and sly, to see how many people will buy into their sales pitch rather than actually getting them signed and then being able to do what the agency does. Now, some agencies may have a training component to it. So then they train them up and then they do the booking, or they might get bookings while they're training. Most of the time, those bookings are usually local. Now, I just so happen to be able to find a decent position that was accepting auditions all last week via video from SLMTA and probably from other agencies as well, and into the weekend yesterday. And believe me, some had excuse after excuse after excuse, and I understand things come up, but I call them excuses because I don't know what's going on. Really, I don't know what is going on. What I do know is that the job opportunity was there, and there's always going to be ways of being able to do it, you know. And Malik, he found a way to do it. He actually had to take an emergency flight out to somewhere, like he was at a time zone that is 2 hours before Eastern time. Excuse me. And he was able to take his phone, and he had his friend actually do the recording of what was necessary for the decision cast. He showed us that he was actually not going to let nothing pass him by the opportunity. Even if he didn't get the opportunity, he wanted to make sure that he made the audacity to be able to provide that opportunity for, for Amy and them to get to know him in the presence of how he acts as an angry person versus a happy person, because that was what the rules were as far as video submissions. And to be honest, I really think that he did an excellent job, but everybody has to make their decisions to figure out who goes where and how they're being used, if at all. It's not about the truth of the matter of whether or not they get booked or not. It's the matter of you have to be able to focus on what is at hand, right? So as an agency, you have to focus on what is at hand. Do not try to make yourself be more than something if you are focused on a local area. Just focus on a local area, get the models that you need in your local area, and be done with it. Don't try to do more than what it is. And again, you have to know the definitions of different terms within the industry. Don't try to be cunning. So if this isn't you, where your intention was not to be cunning, then be careful. Change those advertisements, because as of right now, it is a false advertisement, and it goes against copyright in a big way as well. Copyright is saying that you're using someone's photo to advertise them in a way of which they are not. In other words, to deceive people into believing something that is not actually true. And the copyright is basically where you're claiming something that is not actually yours. So you got to be very careful about how you're advertising and if it is actually something that you're claiming. Now, a very clear example would be SLMTA's Spring Fling Extravaganza, right? I might have a host. Let's say, I really hate to use names. You know what? He doesn't mind this. Astrap Towsey, top supermodel of SL Models and Talent Agency LLC. All right. He's international, world known, right? That is true. All that is true. Now, he is the host. I'm not going to tell him that he is the agency's CEO of Spring Fling. No. He is the host of Spring Fling. What would that mean? Simply this. The host of Spring Fling would basically be an individual whose entitlement is to make Spring Fling Extravaganza the best that it can be. And maybe they might throw in some of their model that they'll know how to advertise. We would be able to advertise it. We would say photo credits to blah, 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 whatever the case may be, right? That part, I don't think has been an issue for many agencies, but there are still some sticky agencies, especially in the Mid-Atlantic region. Okay, and I'm talking from Virginia all the way up to the probably Massachusetts, where they forget to put those credits in there. And people are thinking, because they're just reading and they're thinking, oh, that's your model. Okay. But the reality is you actually have to still list, even if the person is really a supermodel, you still have to list who is actually in charge of that supermodel. You would have to say Joe Schmo from XYZ has come to or come back to or has came and visit do a blah blah blah, and then your photos would have to then be credited, like photos taken by so and this is so and so from so and so LLC or whatever. And that's how you handle that. Because unfortunately, the truth of the matter is, even though that they might have came from your agency at one point, they have moved on. That doesn't mean that they forgot who you were or that you forgot who they were. They just moved on to the point where they are now in a hot spot doing hot work, if you know what I mean, getting the big jobs that they otherwise would not be getting through a local agency. And see, that's why SLMTA decided to go national, because now we have a niche in our programming, okay? We have actually 3 niches. We have a specific niche that allows the kids to be able to participate in their anime acts and anime, as well as their dance competitions and things like that. So they're more like Nickelodeon, Disney, and that. And what we do is we send them out to participate in those dance competitions because they actually happen. They set a fee for the agency, and then how many you can fit on the stage. There you go. And you also get a deal where you can be at Disney while it's happening. It's a very great deal. And if you want to know how to set up your agency for you, just let me know. All right. It's something to try to establish. But basically, our niche with our kids, our big niche as a whole, is unleash the artist within and let your light shine. It is the journey that we provide. That is the niche as a whole, the branding, the slogan. The niche for our modeling division is strictly actually focused on it's focused on runway and fashion, actual design. Okay, and what I mean by that is that designers are looking for models that would fit into their designs and showcase. We then take those things to distributors and to stores, and we start to sell merch. So the goal isn't to just be stuck with a design and show off in a distant realm. Oh no. Now, Artist Gala is very, very expensive. I'm not going to lie. When it comes to our fashion weeks that we would set up in Atlanta, Georgia, or whatnot, but agencies that want to bring their designers, meaning if you are an agency that has a niche just for designer, it's costing $6,400 for the year to use the logo, to be able to get the leads, to be able to do that. And then when you're actually in, you are getting distributors and all of that. and you would be showing designs. You're going to end up bringing models in to fit those designs. So they will be walking the stages. If you needed someone to participate, we would tell you what the cost of that would be. Otherwise, we do have models that can participate from other agencies, meaning if you're a local agency that is interested in actually participating, sending your models out to try these designs during Fashion Week in Atlanta, Georgia, that we are setting up for the Southeast region anyway, then it's going to be $2,400 for you guys, and you will get the leads in your local area. Basically, why is it so expensive? Because in the forefront, these models are actually getting paid to be able to walk that stage. You are going to have to be the responsible party for allowing this to happen. Okay. It is a potential for being able to develop superstar related models, if that's what you're interested in doing. It's a whole different type of niche that any other convention out there has. And of course, there will be some that would try to mimic this, but the reason that we keep it so broad to the point that you don't even know what we're trying to do with it is because we know that there are conventions out there that will try to do it. So now, yes, it does get expensive, but in a long run, again, this is for the agencies that are wanting to bring designers in. Okay, it's $6,400 in the artist gala. Okay, now our clients, like our stores that are interested in wanting to participate, they actually pay a fee as well, and then royalties to artist gala. Out of those royalties of artist gala, we then have to send checks over to the designers. Okay. So we have to have the list of the designers that were located. When it comes to the models, if they are put into magazines, because we would be introducing, or not introducing, what's what I'm looking for, inviting places like Vogue and Bazaar and them to come out, like different local print magazine companies and national, international. So they would come to this event, okay, and they would be finding the models that they want to participate in. When we get the royalties from that, then we would be paying the models, okay, that participates in that. So that's how that actually goes. All right. All of it's legal. Everything is straightforward, blunt, and unedited, raw, and to the point. There we go. I told you y'all would like this tonight. But yes, SLMTA has a very, very specific niche in the industry. Within all of our divisions that we have. Even in the Dreamers division, guess what our niche is in the Dreamers division? Community stars. And you're probably wondering, they're not stars, they just started. What do you mean community stars? Because it is the community where we develop stars. The whole point of it, folks, it's training. Yes, I'm not pretending. I'm not going to tell you if I have anybody that signed it yet or not. As a matter of fact, I will probably tell you that there's 4. It's not a cheap thing. It's tuition based. We're trying very hard. We're sending in invitations even to the, not invitations, but proposals to the government to see what we could do as far as grants to even help mobilize this as well. Because typically the V-Smart, the reason that we didn't set up V-Smart yet is because just 1 year of training is going to cost roughly about $12,000. And they are specific classes, okay? It's set up like a college. It's probably going to be about $8,000 a year for kids. But if you're in a private school anyway, then $8,000 is probably not going to be that bad anyway for you. I'm just saying, I didn't research what the cost of private school is for kids, but I could tell you this much. I'm pretty sure it's going to probably be, you know, it would be expensive. But if I let the government know what the purpose and plan is of SL Models and Talent Agencies Community Stars program, then there's a possibility that they may accept our proposal to allow us to help maybe get some money into that so that they would be able to see more students doing it. Because our purpose is not just to train and say, congratulations, good luck, but we are hoping that they stick with us so that we could put them into the booking chamber. That's what we want to do. We would like them to grow into the momentum of having bookings. But that doesn't mean that they may not get bookings anyway when they're in school. You see, like I said, I think the worst part of it is going to be when you do my training, which is the original 10 weeks, and then you're going to be doing, on top of that, you will be doing the training for audition readiness. Now, in audition readiness, the goal is that you will be doing as many auditions. In performance readiness, the goal is that you will perform in as many things that you can. So if you're starting it, like say, for example, if there's a showcase in December, if you're starting in June, you got July. You got July, August, September, October, November, December is 6 months, okay? The showcase would have to be somewhere around the middle of December. But that's why we did it that way, so that you would be able to get a chance to actually get into the next program. Typically November, you actually start in the next program because it's not really 6 months and 6 months, it's just 5 and then 7. It just really depends on how things go and what your schedule is going to be. But anyway, that's where we are at. So like if I had a pop star coming to me and wanting to sign a contract to do a concert, I'm not going to say SLMTA's pop star named so-and-so. No, I'm going to say pop star working with, because that's the credit. It's working with whomever from wherever agency, representing a concert by SLMTA for the purpose of. That's basically how you actually introduce a person, and where you give bragging rights. It's not about, oh, they're not going to think that it's as important if I didn't tell them that they were part of me. No, that's not actually true. It would be just as important if you can get a collaboration with someone like Taylor Swift to come and do an actual mentorship program with your students, right? To learn how to sing, okay? I'm making it simple. Then the same way I just said, Taylor Swift with whatever agency representing SLMTA's singers and mentorship program for this purpose of blah, blah, blah. Because then the world is going to see it, or the locals or whoever will see it as, oh, okay, so you have this collaboration with a professional singer. See, it would actually embarrass someone like her if I would have said, oh, SLMTA's Taylor Swift. It would probably embarrass me as well. It'd be even more embarrassing if they were like, oh no, I'm not gonna do it because like you embarrassed me. And then I'd be wondering where the embarrassment came from. And it's like, oh crap, I wrote it the wrong way. Because she, even if I could prove somehow that that person was actually on a roster from like many moons ago, or let's say I've worked for an agency that I knew that this person was there, I can't claim it and say, oh, they were SLMTA, because it's not an SLMTA situation. It's a whole nother company. So you're gonna have to project your company as a way where it is more presentable. I stress this out a lot. Okay, well, with SL Models and Talent Agency, and the fact that I am kind of getting tired, I'm making sure that I've got all the topics in, that I spent enough time. Yeah, for the most part, I did. Because basically what I'm doing here is I'm basically telling you tonight, know where you are at now. Not before, not what it's going to look like later on, but right now. Okay? And then that is what you're going to do. What is your original collaboration with that person or with that company? That's what you focus on when it comes to the now. You do not try to paint a picture that looks lovely, because here's the problem. Let's see how I want to do this. Let's say that you know how to make donuts, and instead of you using sugar, you ended up putting salt into it. What are you going to do? Are you going to actually lie and say this is the sweetest donut you'll ever taste? And then you go buy the donut, bite into the donut, and you find out, ooh, this tastes like salt. This is not what I bought, right? I thought I was buying a donut, and instead I bought like the salt command. Well, that's what's going on when you have agencies out there that say, so we have these pro star, these supermodels, these grandeur Javits and everything else happening. And then you go there and it's like, you either have to pretend like you actually knew the person, or you're going to have to sit there and hope that everybody knew them or something. Why am I actually touching the base? Why is this very important? See, when I write the book doesn't sound as what I'm speaking, okay? So I try to make it a little bit more fun while I'm speaking live. But the book is pretty much telling you a whole lot of information that you would otherwise probably need a Webster dictionary for. For example, emotional excuses, right? I'm just here to let you know that I'm basically someone that you're not going to pull any strings with. So you could go ahead and try to advertise in any way that you want to advertise. So you can go ahead and try to blame me that I don't know how to advertise certain things, that this and that. It don't really matter to me what is actually happening. What I can tell you is that in the long run, SLMTA knows how to introduce their VIP. And if we don't want to introduce them, we don't even need to. Like I said, we do have a celebrity chain. But when it comes to celebrities, unless you're willing to actually book and have some money that goes with the booking, it's probably going to be hard to get a celeb on there. Now, if you want one, that's fine. You could do that. I'm not saying that you can't have at least one on there. That might get you started to really be a little bit more important, especially if you're a film producer. But as far as like trying to say that so and so is an award-winning something of another and they hadn't reached that status is not good. Like, and I'm not saying that in a sense that because I hadn't reached that status, that's not even the point. I know that there are some folks that, would probably look at, oh, look who's talking type of thing. But I want to let you know, I want to be very loud and clear with this. It's not about that. It's about you having the embarrassment for your company in the long run. Could I be cunning and sly? Sure, I could be. I could sit there and deceive everyone to get $1 if I really wanted to. But that's not what is important. And the biggest niche for me right now is to make sure that my models and artists could actually get bookings. The training is there, yes, but that's not all that SLMTA does. So in order to really work with SLMTA, you have to have a very good purpose and plan in place that is making sense. It's not going to, because we don't work, we just don't have time for liars. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about for the last couple of minutes here, about the lying agency. Because there are those who will put a front on, that's more of the false advertising and copyright scenarios. But a lying agency is an agency that will, when you put them on the front, every single lie pops up that you can think of. No, these are not excuses. Okay, these are actual lies. And they will try to turn around and say, oh, no, you're just judging. I'm telling you right now, it's not judgment. You do you. I'm going to tell you how you know that you're dealing with a lying agency. A lying agency is someone who cannot tell you straightforward what the awards are. Or they'll say there are too many. I'm not going to sit here and explain them all to you. Then you're going to ask them, well, do you, when it comes to putting them, on the spot, you would say, okay, does your pro models have resumes? Yes. Okay. When was their last booking? What do you mean? Right away, I don't entertain it. You know what I say? I said, well, you told me what I meant, but thank you. Why do I say that now? Instead of me sitting there arguing with them saying, oh, you're shady and this and that, I basically will just say, oh, thank you. You told me what you mean. Why am I telling you what you mean? Because you know what a resume is, and you know what a booking is. And if I'm asking you where was the last booking for so-and-so, and you're asking, what do I mean? Then what you're telling me, in other words, is either A, I shouldn't have to tell you where the booking was, or that they didn't have a booking. Now, some agencies will flat out say, we don't technically entertain the idea of those questions. That's what they'll say. They'll be like, if you don't understand that, if you don't trust that they have been booked or whatever, then you don't need to work with our, that's what one of the agencies said. And I was like, well, I tell you what, it might be the opposite way. I might have them being booked with us after you've done all the work, but in the end, you might get the 10%. But I'm here to tell you that they're going to end up signing with SLMTA. Well, see, now that develops a rivalry. Why? Because in their mind, they're trying to keep those models there. They're locals or whatnot. Now, a model has a choice. If they cannot travel to Jacksonville for auditions, if they cannot travel to New York City for auditions, if they're not able to do these different types of things, excuse me, then what you do is you basically, you have no choice, but they're going to be stuck there on a local level. Then the question is, because some of them we hear, oh, they get booked at this store and that store and every store after it, and this print machine and that print machine and every print machine after it, and that, so on and so forth. But then you're just wondering, well, if I'm actually going to go walking through I don't know, Macy's, and I happen to see a picture of the new dress that they're selling, and it was on this one model, and I say, oh, yes, I remember her from such and such agency. Then I know that there's something actually really going on. Sometimes you have to show some things. And why would you not want to? You want to be excited. You want to be able to advertise that, right? Like, for example, if Malik actually gets a booking, right? I would be advertising Malik with the picture and saying booked by, and then who actually booked him, maybe even what his role is. There's nothing wrong with doing that, because in the forefront of it, it's going to go on his resume anyway. So it doesn't make any sense to sit there and say, oh, well, you don't need to know where my model's been at. You're crazy. What do you mean? You're sitting there talking about how it's going to cost $800 to learn everything about the industry, and you don't even know what a resume is? Come on, you got to get real. Put that stuff in the resume and show the resume. There is nothing, I don't know what is scary about showing a resume, except that the agency isn't really doing nothing. Then I'd have to say that it's, you know, that it's fake and everything, but even on top of that, it's been false advertising. For what? How many years now? How many years would you have been playing that same trick? So yes, unfortunately, I'm not afraid to call out what I see in the industry, but this isn't merely a calling out. This is actually me calling in, showing you guys what needs to change in this industry. And for those of you who are experienced that are following me out there, like, Elite Management and New York Model Management and Bohemia and Next and all of you guys, right? We need to collaborate together because the reality is that there are a lot of agencies out there that are like these new agencies just popping up out of nowhere where they are claiming that they've been everywhere and done everything. Now, I like the idea that we have local agencies that will help for local position jobs, but folks, are you local or are you trying to lie about you being more expanded? I don't understand sometimes what some of these agencies, what they're even talking about. And that is the truth. Sometimes I have to talk to them just so that I can figure out what they're talking about because I get lost. I mean, don't get me wrong, people get lost with me too, because SLMTA is, while I'm sitting here thinking that it's a simple business, it is actually it's a very large company now. Not large, but not in the way of the employees of being large, but just everything that's going on with it. Like we have a lot of different programs. We have a lot of services. We are a full service agency, which means that we can help you to get a portfolio done. And that's all that you need. And that's all that you should need. We're not going to force someone to be a model if they don't want to be a model. If they just want to use us for our portfolio services, then they should be allowed to. Right? If they want to attend a workshop, but they don't want to sign, they could do that. They want to attend the Miami photo shoot. Well, they got what they think it takes, and they could come do that. That's why I'm saying we actually got 2 people that are going to sign up from other local agencies, okay, that are going to sign up, but there is no agreement of them actually signing in with SLMTA over it. Now, I did tell the agency that they will have to sign with us if they are being seen by other agencies. Because unfortunately, the Miami photo shoot is an SLMTA thing, not another agency ordeal. So if they're getting callbacks or our national agencies are actually doing their part and wanting to sign them, then they would have to sign with us in order to be able to get that. And if you're saying no, then what you're doing is you're depriving them from actually getting the exposure that they really need, which actually becomes even more embarrassing. And I would probably even have to tell the acting agencies to hold off a moment. And I would have to see that contract to find out whether or not it could be voided. Because if that model is saying, oh, no, this is giving me a chance to work with a big agency, then you have literally just lost your mind. Because a lot of people, okay, that are wanting to do this Miami photo shoot, they know what's coming in. They know what's coming in. There is nothing fake about it. They know what's coming in and they know what they got to do. And it's going to give them all the exposure that they need. And the real problem behind it is that the agency says, no, I don't want you to sign with them. then you just told them to waste $750 to do what? Because really the big winner is our award-winning photographers, which we'll explain later. We're having our press in May, and I'm also trying to figure out what I'm going to do about our hair makeup situation as well. It's not a situation. What I'm talking about is there's a surprise that I want to do, but I don't want to be leaking things out 3 months in advance. So I'm just letting you know that it's going to happen, and you want to be prepared for that. So yes, the photo shoot isn't really, you don't have to sign with SLMTA to do the photo shoot, but the only time that you would probably have to sign with us is when you're dealing with the callbacks. Why? Because SLMTA is the ones that had represented you guys into getting this networking availability. And you guys are set. Let me tell you something. Even if we do not sign, the other agencies would be signing them. And if you're saying that there are issues about letting you know about those agencies signing with them, I'm not here to be wasting my time promoting or advertising for agencies. And those agencies know that as well. So in the end of the ball game, what would actually end up happening is that they would probably most likely not be working with your agency if they figure that it's better for them to move on. So you're going to have to expect that to happen and make sure that you keep your agency flowing with more people going to your roster. SLMTA grows a roster from those who are formed already. So if you are wanting your models to expand, then SLMTA is where you want to bring those models to. All right. We have our own special Dreamers division. Okay. So we're not going to be collaborating with other agencies on that outside of showcasing, maybe workshops and seminars, that kind of thing. But we would not be doing like what we did before. In other words, we're not going to be asking new faces of other local agency to sign with the Dreamers division. It's your job to train them up, and when they get a resume, then you send them to the SLMTA, either the emerging or the pro division. If you're claiming them to be a pro, if you're claiming your models that they are a pro, then you better make sure you have stuff to back it up, because false advertisement is not going to be the way to go any longer with SLMTA. If they are not pro models, you're being audited, flat out. No more of the garbage. And so you want to make sure that you are using the right terms when you are speaking and advertising from your agency. All right. The other thing that we wanted to talk about, if they are emerging artists or whatnot, we are working on doing student type. Well, we're doing internships, apprenticeships, and we're also trying to develop with the deans of the performing arts with certain colleges to seek emerging artists. Emerging artists are basically those artists after training or after schooling where they have experience via their training, but they don't have any real world experience yet. So they are developing their experience through college education and whatnot. We could still be able to put them through booking samples or bookings that qualify for their prospective schedules. But they're going to have to be sure that they could fit those in their schedule. All right. That is how we're going to be doing the emerging artist division. Now, if they are a dreamers division, we're going to tell you, keep training them. When they have a resume, they will become a pro. Then they can sign with SL Models and Talent Agency. We're not going to be wasting time with agency with fake pros. It's got to be that they are a pro model, meaning a professional model and or artist, or that they are emerging. If they are emerging, then they have graduated finally from their training, whatever training you got them in, or that they have graduated from college, or they're in college. Okay, this is not a hard situation, folks. You're only making it hard because you're trying to put yourself in a position that doesn't qualify that position. So stop trying to figure out how to qualify in a position and just do what you got, and then let's work it out that way. That's why collaborations are very difficult with some of these agencies, because of trying to fit themselves in a spot where they actually don't fit. That puzzle piece isn't quite there. It looks good. It looks exactly like the piece that fits there, but there's one end that doesn't fit properly. Like, for example, you could be running a contest. You could. And even that can make the person be like the #1 person of that contest. That's great. I look at that as an emerging conquest. It's a milestone for that emerging artist. If the contest actually could prove that the person had a resume that was built to it, like I could tell when I'm looking at bios, because most of the time when you have contests, you encourage those contestants to write some kind of a context. Well, write some kind of a bio. Well, if you're reading the bio and if everything's about work that was done with an agency, but no work that was done by any third party, like meaning now you got booked here or booked there and you had a job, how in the world am I supposed to believe that that's a pro model? I can't. I don't care if you think that it's worth all of that. So that's not what the client wants to sit there and hear. Okay, so you have a program that is well defined. Now you have extra work you got to do. Prove that one. Now, SLMTA, we do have programs that are provable for our Dreamers division, but we don't even advertise Dreamers division as much as we used to, because our focus is to train them up, okay? We will train them up, but we can only hold so many at one time anyway. So if we tell you that you're going to have to wait for the next year, then that means that we're not accepting any other leads or any other people. Well, now we're accepting leads. We are doing leads, okay? And the phone number should be the 616 number. However, we are only looking for 20 other good educators. Okay, so because we're fitting, we only have so many that can fit per class, per division, per program. All right, because of we're doing everything online in regards to our training program. So with that being said, we're being told that we have to focus on one area from different places, but I'm not even worried about that. What you need to actually focus on is showing me proof how your programs actually prove that they are workable. That you actually had all the quote unquote pro models that actually you have an invoice and a receipt given to them, and the proof that in that budget it shows that they paid equally just like any other new one. Because let me tell you something, okay? We know this, all right? Because I've done this. In fact, I'm doing this, and I'm about to do this for the Miami photo shoot, okay? Iris is a very good friend of mine. She's like a mom to me, okay? But she is what I call a very true unstoppable woman. A woman that could literally take all this kind of pain and still march on every single day. And we're talking about revolving actual just pain on a continuous basis and can still march on. There are days that she acts as if the pain isn't even there when I know that it is. I could tell because I watch facial expressions. There's some psychology to that. Well, the thing is that she had helped me in a very, very, very good way. Many different ways, more than I can even imagine. Everything from the office space that we had to where she was helping to do some scouting, even when there was some skepticism. All the way to the hours on end of communication back and forth, helping me to realize some of the steps that needed to be necessary for SL Models and Talent Agency to move forward, right? So I'm offering her, yes, I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually offering her to go to the Miami photo shoot, and it would be on me because she's already accomplished everything else. And I thought that would be my way of saying thank you. But just because I'm giving her like the free Miami shoot disclosure does not mean that I'm going to say, oh, she's a top model of SL Models and Talent Agency. Okay, I'm just saying this. I'm trying to make you understand what I'm getting at, because there are agencies out there where they say that they have a proven system, and what they're doing is finding their friends from here and here and there and here, setting them up on a pedestal and saying, okay, it worked for them, it should work for you. But in reality is, I actually ask questions, and I ask, well, what's the first lesson you learned? They supposedly try to say it's your confidence builder. And I'm sitting there like, and by the way, I have good ears too. So like when I'm listening to things and they say, oh, I wrote this book. Now I wrote a book, but it's not copywritten. So that means there's nothing out there yet where you can actually pull in public records, because I'm still tweaking some areas within the book. Okay, it will be coming out. And plus I want to work with a very, very good specific publisher. Okay, so that's another reason behind that. And so, yeah, I'm just going to leave it right there. But I'll hear people that will say that they actually have a book with the title, and it will say it's this. And then I would be sitting there trying to figure out. The first place I go to is the copyright office. So then I cut, copy, and paste, or I remember what the name of the book is and I type it out. And I'll see that there is no registration to that copyright. And I'm like, okay, they said that the title of the book is this, and that. And it ain't copyrighted? This don't make no sense. So then I would have to go and try to confirm, how do I find your book? Oh, it's sold over here, it's sold over there. I'm like, no, it's not. It ain't sold anywhere. You ain't even got a copyright for it. And then they say, oh, well, that's my proven, you have to pay for my classes to get it. And I'm like, what? So hold up, you're telling me that I gotta spend $897 for a book? No. Back that statement up. Hold up. In order to get your book, I have to go out there and sign up for this 14-week lesson. So in essence, what you're telling me is that it costs $800 to go buy this book. What if I'm a self-learner? What if I don't want to sit there and listen to you? Like you don't want to sit there and listen to me for the past 3 hours. See, I try to make it fun. I'm a happy person. Most of the time I am, and tonight, if you didn't guess that, well, guess what? You gotta be on dreamland or somewhere. I don't know what to tell you. I can't help you if you're not happy. But I had people try to tell me that, oh, it costs you $800 to go and take this class, and then you can get my book. Forget that. I'll just go find a book that sounds similar to that. And it'll be $13.99 off of Amazon with Prime free shipping. How's that? Less than $1 for each week that you're talking. Oh man, folks, you just don't know what is going on out there, do you? Now, what SLMTA does, I'm not going to lie. Our training programs, now when I have the 10-week focus training, what that is everything about how to pose, copyright law, entertainment laws, how to read a contract, you know, those different types of things, everything that you would need to know about the industry going in. That's what my 10-week class is. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm teaching that stuff from memory, and you will have to write your notes down. If you really want to know where I'm getting my information, I will give you the books with the ISBN number. So you can go ahead and order them, but I'm not going to go in any precise order because you will notice that I merely actually say it all by memory. There is not one thing that I lose. And what I'm basically saying now. Now, with that being said, there are some classes where you will have to purchase a book. We will not accept any kind of person coming to me saying that if you pay $800, you will get my training and we will go ahead and you'll have my book and everything. No, what we're going to do is They have to let us know what book they're using in a system that has an ISBN number. If they don't have an ISBN number and they cannot order it from somewhere, then unfortunately, there's no way that you could teach the class, because we're not paying the $800 and neither is my students either. They've already paid what they needed for the training. And all we need is now mentors that know how to teach. So if your thing is to figure out how you're going to stack up your pocketbook, you better go stack it up with the calcino out on the pastures. That's where that belongs. Okay. But as far as SL Models and Talent Agency is concerned, you need an ISBN in order to get that book. They will get the book. Why? Because they paid for that book already. We're going to get the book. And then we're going to pay you a certain amount of what it costs to teach for those 10 weeks. But no. No. And if you don't like that, then, you just have to be happy doing what you normally do. I'm just letting you know that that's how SLMTA roll. So that's the way that's going to be. I mean, it's a lot of money, folks, out there, and there's people that are trying to get your money every which way. That's why I said, deal with it at the source. Let me figure out the price. It's bad enough I already have a big enough price for you guys in the Dreamers division. You do not need to be sitting there spending any more money that you don't need to be spending. To be sitting there listening to all these, pay this and you'll get that. Again, they should be able to give you a title of a book. Why? Because the book, depending on how many copies were printed out, that book should actually be the proven source. So if they're trying to tell you that they have a proven platform, but the only way you actually know if it's a proven platform is by paying $800, so that means that it probably wasn't proven at all. Because you have to know how to be an actual author to be an author. So if you have a proven platform, then good luck trying to prove that $800 to get a book is actually going to be a proven platform. Now, why does it seem like some of you are probably going to ask this in your mind? Why does it seem like you're attacking some other agencies but not the others? First of all, SLMTA doesn't attack. That is your emotional excuse for why you cannot move on and think about making your agency better. That's all I'm going to say to answer to that question. The other part of the question, though, is that besides us not attacking, we want to let you know that there is a specific way to become successful in this industry. And most people, you are not having success with. The least of anybody's worries is to sit there and have somebody say, I'm going to sell you an $800 book that might have only 60 pages in it, if that. And it's going to talk about 10 different topics that you basically can get from anywhere and anywhere else. But because they know how to talk, is that reason. Now, don't get me wrong, I know how to talk too, but I have to make sure that my price stands out with the work, even though I may be worth more, and I am, okay? That textbook alone is probably worth $250, okay? But I'm not going to be teaching from the textbook. That's a college and a university thing. Once I get everything actually approved and everything is making sense and edited and confined and all that fun stuff, then I could actually say I'm an author of a textbook, which is actually even a little bit more than just the average author. You're talking about something that can actually be used in a college. Okay. So another thing, don't ever, and I've been saying this over and over and over and over again, and I'm going to say this as a final warning. Do not use the word college in anything unless you are a licensed college. Because if you get the state coming in there auditing you and you're saying that you got, I don't know, like the Actors College, oh my God, you better hope you can run faster than you typed it. I'm only being honest with you because of these situations are actually real, okay? You have to have a license to be able to establish a college. So if this is you out there that is trying to say that you're the College of Real Estate or the College of Modeling or the College of, what are we going to call this? You better make sure that you have your licenses intact, then that they are shown for. Because if those licenses are not there, because you have to have specific licenses to be able to open a college. And if you don't have the license to open the college and you're calling it a college of something, then you're going to, I don't know. I don't see how that's a proven platform for anything because that's false right there. You cannot be proven that something works when it's false. Okay, I mean, I hate to be the one of bad news, but they are things that you really need to make sure that you have your verbiage correctly. The College of News Media and what you are is a modeling agency training people how to be in the news. That's not the same thing. You're not a college. All right. I couldn't say that I run the College of Modeling if I don't have a license to be able to open the college, number one, and number two, that I don't have any of the instructors that are licensed. You can't even say that you're a consultant if you don't have a consultant license. Folks, come on, are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? No, seriously, I had to slow down with my voice because I knew I was getting too hyper. And I'm in an area where I think I have neighbors on both sides of me. I know on the one side of me, but over here, I'm not sure if there's someone living there on the left side of me or not. But in any case, I mean, I hope you guys are hearing me. Get that college, the word college out and change it with something. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're going to have to figure it out. I'm already giving you $1 million nuggets trying to explain to you what you need to do to make changes. So it's up to you if you want to do them, or you can sit there and say that all I'm doing is sitting here for 4 hours, literally doing nothing but attacking you. But if that's the case, and when the book comes out, you might want to stay away from the book if you think that it's an attack. I'll be very honest with you. But I will tell you this much, it's already been approved. It's already been approved by my actual thesis topic. Yes, I graduated in high distinction on the approval of this actual particular book, of its topic and the different things revolving around the book. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't think it's stupid. I don't think I'm attacking. It will sound like it, yes. Oh, that book sounded a whole lot worse when I was in the beginning of my degree program. It literally sounded like things like, oh, they're lazy, they're so judgmental, oh my God, it was crazy. But the instructors helped me with it to make it sound a little bit more, relevant and more justifiable to the industry. And, it's workable. It's doing what it needs to be doing. But the truth of the matter is, the only reason why you would be thinking that I'm attacking you particularly, whoever that may be out there, is if you know that you're actually doing wrong. And now you're trying to figure out, well, how do I fix it? Like the proven system that you might be thinking is probably one that might have worked for you on the dollar, but not good for you if you got caught. See? That's usually what happens. You know, if you don't get caught, okay, everything is fine. It's true if you don't get caught. But then you got big ears like Mr. Big Nose right here. Yeah, telling you, okay, watch out for the night riders, right? Oh man, well, what am I gonna do? In all seriousness, and I'm not going to lie, with all this being said tonight, I love each and every one of you. I really do. And I do appreciate each and every one of you. But you also must understand that if your business is important to you, then get it right. Get a real system that is proven to work. Sometimes I read different things and it looks like a preschooler could have typed it better. I'm serious. I'm not going to lie about that. And some of you all know who I'm talking about or what companies I could be referring to. If this is you, fix it. Now, I'm not saying that that's actually illegal. That's not what I'm saying. But if you want to be professional and you want to have a proven system, then prove that you're actually professional and can write it out professionally. Okay. If you're going to write a contract, write that thing like a contract. Have them sign that piece of paper, right? What is going on today? Sometimes I wonder if, you know, I hate to use this word, but I just wonder if we just became a lazy industry. But then I wonder, most agencies don't really care about if they're teaching or not, because they're doing constant booking. So in reality, SLMTA, we have a whole brand over here, and we got the Artist Gala over there, where we handle supermodels and celebs and everything. We do our fashion weeks. We set that up. Oh my God, wait until you see the fashion week we got set up for September. And if you are going to be an agency, you're going to have to not be afraid to spend some money. I'm going to tell you that right now. There are agencies out there. This is another thing that I find that's actually unfair. This is not an illegal thing. It's just an unfair thing where they're always wanting you to be involved with certain things. Now, minus if I decide that I want to be involved, that's a different thing. Okay. So that has nothing to do with that, if that means you. But there are agencies out there that will constantly ask if we would be interested in wanting to collab and do things. So that when we go and actually ask the same thing, it's like they are afraid to spend some kind of money to actually make any real choice. And what we have available, the reason that we schedule things and then we have to slow down and then put them back out on the market is because we have to make sure if the ducks are out in a row. But at the very least, you know what we're planning. You see where I'm getting at? So we say enough that you know what we're planning. We do enough so that you understand that it's going to happen. And then we go ahead with the purpose and the plan and make sure that the ducks are in a row. Because if we don't have the actual ducks in a row, then of course we would not want any agency to get involved and pay money when there's nothing happening. That'd be like me saying, Artist Gala has nothing going on this year, which we don't. Well, we do now, actually. We have a fashion week that we're developing in September. It's still happening from what I understand, but we are looking for designers. But you can't be afraid to spend the money to be able to do it. And if you think that this is actually expensive, try New York. Try New York Fashion Week. They're about $5,900 to participate. All right. And we're set up pretty much in a very same way. And what we're working on, or what I plan to work on, is actually getting some real actual collaboration. So Artist Gala is going to be like a big deal, which is something else I'll talk about a little bit later on, like May, June-ish. But this year, we're gonna, the charge for participating will actually be slightly less because we don't have the space. The reason that we don't have the space is because of the COVID-19 response. So we still have to make sure that there's limited space and things like that, and only so many people for this and that. So in any case, it will most likely end up being 1/3 at the minimum, 1/3, 33% of what the total cost is of $6,400. And that's still pretty expensive to be able to get in there right away. That's why we need to set it up and get it done and have y'all out there and ready. Hopefully, our goal is to get this thing rolling in July, where you can actually start paying your memberships to do that. Now, the good news is that we're doing September, and then what's it? September, and then October, November, December, January, February, March. Okay, March is probably going to be Miami, I believe. And then what we're going to be doing is March and then September again. The reason that we want to do September is because actually that's going to be our physical year for Artist Gala as well as SLMTA. All right. So we will have our last final event in September of every single year. So your physical memberships would have to be paid in by September. So if you want to be able to do something now, you have to get your memberships in. Now, the reason that we are looking at July is because, and why we're charging only a portion, is because this physical year is almost going to be over by that point. So we're looking at only, there's only 1/3 of the year left. And we want to be able to make sure that we hit it off with a hitch, but we may actually have to drop it down to 20% of it, but that's as far as we would be able to go. If we drop it to 20%, that's what the minimum would be, but that's because we have something that we're doing that you would be able to utilize our logos, get our leads and everything else. Artist Gala is a big thing, and to also have Fashion Week involved with it. You don't want to be sitting there trying to just assume that you have, now with that being said, hold on. With that being said, if you're an agency, whether you're local or national or even independent or what have you, international, if you're an agency where your models have been listed in a catalog, you have a very good chance of saying, we got actual pro models. Then you have something that you can actually brag about. Because what we're trying to do is not just expose, but actually putting them out there to work. But we are going to be very, very picky about who is going into that model runway during Fashion Week. It's not going to be an easy pick. All right. So you may get chosen, you may not be chosen. The only reason that we would actually invite agencies to sign up and become a member is because you are claiming that you have pro models. And the first thing that we're going to do, every agency has to pay a license fee. Yes, that is correct. A license fee to us for representation purposes. All right. And what will happen is that license fee, you will be signing up, you'll be sending us like your logos and things like that, but you'll be sending us references of all of your models and everything else. And then you're going to be sending us the resume. Now, if the resume doesn't show any bookings at all, then we're not going to invite, they're not going to be a nominee to be invited to Artist Gala Fashion Week. Okay. If they have bookings, but they're not confirmed by the references, then we're going to be we will then be auditing you guys to find out where these references came from and why they don't know this model and or artist. Okay. And then after that, once we have who we are choosing to have, then that agency will basically get the lead. Okay, so there are certain things that have to happen in the beginning before we could even talk about leads or even anybody trying to get anything related to, and we have year-round activities. We've already prepared them. As you know, there's the Artist Gala competition. Okay, they happen all year round, quarter by quarter. All right. We also are doing different activities, such as workshops and seminars that are prepared for Artist Gala only. So those things are happening as well. So yeah, that's where we are at right now in regard to the Artist Gala. Now, some had asked us, what is the Masquerade Ball? The Masquerade Ball is actually an event for SL Models and Talent Agency, but it also includes a Hall of Fame award nominated show where the judges are then able to pick the actual award winners. These will actually be real actual rewards, not just made up by SLMTA, but industry related awards that we would be able to send out to those who we feel are appropriated for those awards. And those awards are actually very, very specific. And that's where we end up sending invitations, and the invitations are simply there. So they get to go to the event free of charge. They are nominated, so we wouldn't charge them to go, you know? And then we would let you know who the nominations are, and then it's up to you if you would like to have a photo or whatnot with those celebs or what have you. But we actually choose the award winners prior to. And the reason that the masquerade ball kept being changed, besides the building that we're in, is the vendors and all that. So now we have a very clear idea what is going to happen. And I think we're going to make it into a weekend event, with the closure being the masquerade ball. Right now it's set up for Sunday, August 14th, 2022. We're going to be changing the date on that flyer and putting another flyer up again. But we're making it, we actually want to pay and get it extended for Saturday and Sunday, and then we will have it set up for Friday. And the reason for that is because it's pretty much a year and a half out. So we would be able to prepare this, and we want to be able to provide the vendors space to be able to help support SLMTA. There's a lot of vendors that want to come out, singers that want to showcase their talent. So we have showcases that we're going to be doing and all that. So that's what's going to be happening. And there are about 5 hotels that are surrounding the box center. You can literally be at the Amway something Hilton Hotel. You could be at several other hotels where if they're not just walking distance, you literally can walk from one hall down to the next and be inside the building. I mean, that's basically how this is set up. That's what we're actually providing. So yes, and we are going to start the process beginning this August to see who wants to volunteer. If you volunteer to help us to set up and clean up or whatnot, you know, just to kind of help out and whatnot, you do get a free ticket in, obviously. Okay, so we'll be able to take care of you. There will be lunch, dinner, you know, kind of thing. So all that will be established for you. You know, because we're gonna need the help for sure. But folks, get rid of the jealousy, because if this is where you're at right now, I'm talking to some of the agencies that are out there whom does follow me a lot on Instagram or Twitch, whatever the case may be. Folks, I'm letting you know that these invitations are very important for your models and or artists, okay? Even if it is for the matter of them being able to showcase. Look, it's not me trying to nickel and dime. It's the same process that you basically have to go through. So if you're saying that you're setting up a showcase and now you're telling me not to nickel and dime, then it's hard for me to believe that they're not buying into your showcase either. The point that I'm trying to bring out is that these are available not as an addition to cause a conflict of interest on another scenario, but we need to keep things rolling. Okay, and this is one of the ways SLMTA keeps things rolling. Now, I also want to be very wise into saying that there has been one time where I have attended like a premiere. I forget, I guess it's like a convention or whatnot. And they claim that they, you know, it's from an agency within the Pennsylvania, New York area. And they claim that they have all these agencies that you'll be seen by this and this, you'll get callbacks and all this, right? Well, the reality is when I actually was able to scope out what this particular convention did, I was like, I don't see where that's actually true. They had, now there was a few callbacks, yes, I'm not going to lie. There was a few callbacks, but then with the few callbacks that there was, I was a little bit skeptical because you know me, I like to network. So before I'm even started doing anything, especially in this case, I was just going to, because I'm scoping out. They invited me to go and scope out. So that's what I did. So I take business cards from everybody. Then I go and I research, and half of them aren't even found in the research. So then I have to call up the corporation office to find out what the public records are, because I'm really now interested in finding out what kind of agencies do they have going to this convention. And I'm like, come on, no, 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 no. And I actually even went as far as telling them, hell no. And yes, that might not sound professional, but I'm going to tell you that's what I said. And I said, you need an audit. I said, this is ridiculous. I said, how much does it actually cost for an agency to bring talent in here? Oh, blah, 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 blah. And then they were like, actually, they never even gave the price, because when they heard me, because I stepped out of my game too fast, they were like, oh, well, you know, it doesn't seem like you're really interested. So we're probably just going to, you know, it's okay. You don't have to worry about it. I was like, no, you've already showed enough to prove to me that you deserve an audit. So now you might as well answer the question before I send someone over here that will have to answer the question too. Oh, they didn't like that. So then that's what ended up happening. There were 5 people that showed up. I called one number up and they were there in about 10 minutes. It was easier because it was in New York, and half of the entertainment lawyers that I know, well, half of them are actually up there. So I'm like, I was like, look, you didn't want to answer the question. Well, now let's answer the question now. Now I'm actually doing my real job. Tell me, how much does it cost for somebody to come in here to this convention? I was like, that's not answering the question. So then we went in a different way. We said, where did you get these agencies? Well, these are agencies that we found online. I said, really? How did you find them online? Because I couldn't find them online. That was the whole point of the audit. My friend told me about this agency, and they said it's starting this agency, and then that friend told that friend that this friend did this and that friend, and I was like, your friend? How are they national agencies if they're not listed? I don't know what you mean. I know what I mean. You claim now you have professional, outside, world-renowned national agencies that come in and they do callbacks and all this stuff. Where are the national agencies? Come on, answer the question. Well, I don't know what you mean. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know what you mean means that I don't know where you got your license from. So then after that, after the actual whole entire scenario, after they had to pay for the audit, oh God, was that a pretty penny. Then it turned out to be that Yes, it is true. The auditors could actually rip the licenses off of someone for false advertisement and things like that. So, and when I say license, I mean straight to the point that they are no that they have done business illegally. So even their incorporation status was revoked almost immediately. That's what I mean. So this is the issues that I'm basically saying. You cannot, you have to make sure you have your ducks in a row before you say you have something. But then it's even worse when you're asking somebody to pay for something, there's nothing there to be paid for. All right, I'll give you a good example. Let's say Artist Gala did not have a Fashion Week show in Atlanta, Georgia in September. And I started charging every one of you guys, $2,000 to last until through to September. What are you paying for? A logo? Most of you, like the logo is nice because it gives you the it gives you some what's the word that I'm looking for? It's getting a little bit late now. Look at it. So what's this? Almost 1 a.m. Oh my goodness. So many hours was I on this thing? I thought it was only, oh my goodness. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Man, you're not paying me enough. Holy smokes. Oh, I'm sorry. I need more subscribers. I'm not getting paid enough. There you go. Yeah. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. There you go. Oh man. Um, it's been almost 4 hours, I think. Yeah, it's gotta be. I started around at 1:15, it will be 4 hours. Oh my Lord. What a nice, interesting evening it has been, really. Don't forget to subscribe at SL Models and Talent Agency LLC, the gold icon with the red ring around it. Yeah, that is me, baby. That is me. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if your heart so desires, please become a Patreon. That will be a great help to our Dreamers Division Community Stars program. So as they are needing that for their scholarship program when they develop that. So anyway, yes. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to become a Patreon. We got about 100 and some Patreons thus far. Let's keep them rolling, rolling, rolling. Like roll, roll, roll the ball. I think I'm saying that right. I probably messed that up. So anyway, yeah. So what I was going to tell you before I realized that I've been up almost 4 hours online chit-chatting, interacting with anyone and all that could be viewing me during this time. I want to let you know that it is extremely, extremely important that you have your ducks in a row as professionals. Tonight, it's all about the agency conventions, the entertainment innovators. We'll put it that way. You are the entertainment innovators. This is you, okay? This is you. You need to make a good role model for your models instead of sitting there trying to sit there and say that I don't know what you're even talking about half the time. Like I've been around for 40 years and all this. You might have been around for 40 years, but the agency hasn't. Okay. Okay. Let's make sure we got our facts straight. That's what it was all about tonight. Getting our facts straight. SLMTA, we're not even 2 years into the business. All right. And technically the whole reason why, like I said, I wanted to do noonday, morning, and prime time with the evening. The reason I can't do half of those is because technically I'm busy until I can get enough staff on board to do the different things, then I'll be able to do that. And I'll know that I actually have the money to be able to keep it going too. But right now I have to do what I can, and this is the only time that I'm able to actually get on. You know, instead of Nick at night, I use the pun. It's SLMTA at night. Why? Because it's nighttime and I am live, interactive with you all night long, all night long. Not long. All righty. Let's just keep it rocking, right? Keep it rocking. In any case, it's getting late, and you know I'm gonna be rambunctious if I don't get to bed soon. So again, I am happy for all of you. Please don't forget to subscribe. Tonight was a pretty hard topic for some of you, but you know what? Let me tell you something. I'm a pretty difficult person. Okay. When it comes to professionalism, I gotta make sure that it's up to par, not just the scenario. And I need to make sure, even when now models and talent, it's going to be your turn soon. Okay. Yeah. So if you thought that I was just going to sit here and tease conventions and agency, so you got another thing coming. You got to know who you are, what your niche is, and what your brand is. You got to know not to falsely claim yourself as something of not being careful that nobody is imposturing you. Like we're going to be talking about those topics. Why it's important that you want to have photo releases with any company whatsoever, not just, you know, it's one thing to have a photo release with SL Models and Talent Agency, where we can utilize your photos for purposes of promotion, advertising, and that kind of thing. But when it comes to you like being random with some other agency or some other business, you're gonna need those photo releases from them. It's the same way, even with film producers. They normally have photo releases. Why? Because I mean, it's more than a photo. They're going to be acting on a camera, but for that stuff to be released, you got to have a release form signed, right? But it's up to the responsibility of the clients or those agencies or whatever to make sure that those forms are signed appropriately. It's the same scenario, all right, for you guys as well. A little bit different. We're going to be talking about a little bit different of topic. So it's mainly going to be focused on making sure that it's more about the excuses. And then for the youngster, it's going to be about the parents and what SLMTA is going to accept and what we're not going to accept. And where the parent needs to be involved and where they shouldn't be involved. And that's what it's going to end up being. Now, we don't entertain it. I'll give you this up front. We do not entertain parents who are going to be so focused on, and that's why uh, a lot of our main competitions and all that, we try not to involve kids on purpose, not because the kids don't deserve to be heard. It's just because we're not going to entertain the parent. Well, we're going to try it this time with the Kids Showdown extravaganza. And if it does actually happen where we have to entertain a parent, we're just going to let the parent know, look, maybe that child didn't have enough friends to get all the votes that he or she should have gotten. But that's how it gets done. You need to follow the votes, and that's it. Now with us, we have a sophisticated system where you vote once, not every single day. Okay. There are some voting polls out there where you can vote once a day or whatever, but we want to know how many people actually are going to vote for particular people. And if they actually like that, that's why we're not just going to be doing, when it comes to singers, you need to have a music video of you singing a song or something. Okay. So that when they give you, when a random person is giving you a real actual vote, when I say a random person, I'm talking about the person doesn't have to know you, but still know enough to say, oh, this sounds cool. Yeah, I like that. Because do you think everybody that votes on American Idol is like, oh, I know that girl. I know that random girl that's up there on that stage. Oh, yeah, I'm going, oh, yeah, right? No. And some of them do vote for the same people. That might happen. I will tell you that is true. Okay. Some of the same people that voted for one might vote for another. Okay. That could happen. I'm not going to say if it will or if it won't, but we do not accept votes every day. Some people don't have the time to be sitting there going on there every single day to be voting. All right. And so we understand that. So we have a very sophisticated way of being able to figure those things out. And when I say sophisticated, what I mean is that you have a way that makes your vote count and that it does not have to be subtracted or anything. Okay. And as a matter of fact, we are using very, very specific, well-known tools. I'll let you know about that soon. And no, it's not going to be just online. In fact, there will be ways that you can vote texting. There will be ways that you'll be able to vote via, like you will be seeing, maybe not so much more on the media website, but not so much on the news. So until we actually get our top #1 winner, like in our Stargaze thing, we're going to have a top winner who will get mentored by a artist to become a professional singer. What we would like to do is actually be on the press with both the top winner and the artist, with the artist explaining what he or she may do, with how excited the artist is, and then what we did as an accomplishment to get it started. Okay. So that's some of the things that you're going to be seeing going in forward. And it takes time to set this stuff up. It doesn't happen overnight. So it's not one of those things like, that's why I'm telling you that you could tell what's fake and what's not. Because what's not fake, it's going to take you time to actually get this set up. All right. Like people are going to want to know, like, what is this, right? I'm not just going to go to some, now don't get me wrong, there are some clients of mine that would probably want to help me set this up. I wouldn't doubt it, especially like pertaining to like actors or things like that. where they may have a sophisticated way of judging like a top actor, and that they can maybe get a top role or something like that in an upcoming movie or whatever. Well, that kind of a thing may be able to be set up, but the sophistication that I'm talking about is actually everything that revolves around it. So yeah, we may be able to collaborate how that could be done, and that kind of thing with clients like that, which I think would be cool. But at the same time, you want to make sure that everything fits together in one nice, beautiful puzzle. Okay, you don't want pieces trying to be forced in or any kind of situation like that. In any case, I may be seeing you during prime time tomorrow. If not, there will be another premiere. But I will definitely be seeing you on Tuesday Night Live after our 6 to 8 training. We do have a training on this Tuesday. We may be able to have some good news on Malik to express to the world. We'll let you know about that during that time as well. But until then, you have a blessed evening, and I will see you on Tuesday. Thank you.